Chapter 262. Chapter 262, how could it be used like this? After knowing what everyone had bet, Qin Sheng laughed involuntarily. What the hell was going on? Even he was not sure whether Lao Chong could win or not. He just asked Lao Chong if he was interested in practicing and showing off. How could these people trust him so much? Qin Sheng could not help muttering, "It's not easy to make money. You should be careful when you gamble." It was also a kind advice. Otherwise, if you lose, you can't blame me. Yang Ding said happily. Qin Sheng, I believe you. It's just 2 million. If you lose, we won't blame you. We just can't stand the arrogance over there. For Yang Ding, 2 million was nothing. Moreover, he had won a lot tonight. It was all thanks to Qin Sheng's judgment. Ma Chao also said, Brother Qin, 1 million is nothing. I just bought a car. Luo Changgong, who had bet 10 million on Chong Baji, did not say anything at this time. In fact, he was also taking a risk. The most important thing was to save his face. He did not think that Qin Sheng dared to take such a risk. Based on his understanding of this young man, he would not do such a thing if he was not sure. Qin Sheng could understand these people. However, Boss Lee from Shanghai bet 5 million, which Qin Sheng could not understand more or less. Boss Lee's henchman muttered, Boss, we don't need to get involved. It's the local bullies in Hangzhou who are fighting for their face. Li Jun said with a smile, Have you forgotten what happened in Shanghai? Qin Sheng is not capable. Since he could kill Zhou Wenwu, he must have a master. Moreover, 5 million is nothing to me. Qin Sheng's eyes lit up. That henchman replied in a hurry, You are right, boss. Li Jun said to the female player beside him, who helped him win money tonight, Yu Ji, what do you think of this man? Who will win? The female player called Yu Ji said casually, He is low-key and introverted. Even if he loses, he will not lose in a bad way. However, we still need to wait for the fight to see the clue. Li Jun laughed and said, Let's wait and see. Luo Changgong had finished his bet. Apart from these few people, there were also several other tycoons. Not counting the bets from the audience seats, they had bet 35 million yuan. No matter what, it was totally enough to meet the odds offered by the casino. At that moment, Yuan Ku and his team were also discussing how much they should bet. Yin Qing had not tasted defeat yet, which was Yuan Ku's greatest source of confidence. Originally, he had been winning all night. Of course, he did not mind this last chance to make money. Without hesitation, he bet 15 million. On their side, they bet 30 million in total. Half an hour later, the time for betting finally ended. Including all the spectators present, the total number of chips that had bet on Yin Qing was 60 million. When Qin Sheng knew this number, he was directly shocked. This underground boxing field was really F***king big. Obviously, it was not an exaggeration to make a few hundred million in one night. Those who chose Chong Baji only had a little more than 40 million, including the 35 million on the other side. Obviously, no one trusted Chong Baji. The betting time was over, so the last match was about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce that the challenge begins now, the host said excitedly. Since an extra match was added at the last minute, he would definitely get a lot of commission. Chong Baji looked at Qin Sheng, who was below the stage, and nodded silently. For him, this was an advantage. Because Yin Qing had just finished a match, he was waiting at ease for him to be exhausted. At this moment, the two players were 2 meters apart from each other. Neither of them took the initiative to make a move. They were both sizing each other up. The whole audience was silent, and the atmosphere was tense. Everyone was waiting for a curious match to begin. At this time, Chong Baji said calmly, You just finished a fight. Even if I win, it will be an unfair victory. So I will only use my right leg and not my left. This should be fair. Chong Baji said calmly. Chong Baji's words caused an uproar among the audience. Chong Baji's pretentiousness was too fierce. Some people were directly stunned. Was he confident or conceited? Qin Sheng did not know whether to laugh or cry. Lao Chong is still Lao Chong. Since you know you can win, that's enough. Why did you suddenly make an unnecessary move? This is to increase the difficulty of the game. Ma Chao was also stunned as he said, This pretentiousness is really awesome. However, Yang Deng felt that Chang Baji was not conceited. Instead, he was really confident. I will only use one leg. The group of people, including Luo Changgong and Li Jun, did not like this way of doing things. They were all wily old foxes who had been mingling around for so many years. If they could get something done with only 10 yuan, they would definitely not be willing to spend 2 yuan more. This was really troublesome. The old monk's grandson was somewhat annoyed as he said, "He really doesn't take us seriously." This was a complete humiliation. It was also an insult to them, which meant that he looked down on them. Yuan Ke snorted as he said, "If he wants the pretentiousness, let him do it. Later, we will see how stupid they are." There were only Chang Baji and Yin Qing on the arena. Since Chang Baji had said such words, Yin Qing was obviously unhappy. However, Yin Qing, who did not show his emotions on his face, did not show any dissatisfaction. What he needed was a real opponent, not a fake one who was all talk and no action. As long as Chang Baji was strong enough, he would be excited enough. Chang Baji stared at Yin Qing and made an inviting gesture with his right hand, which was obviously a further provocation. Yin Qing squinted and looked at Chang Baji expressionlessly. He was not irritated by Chang Baji's continuous provocation and humiliation at all. They were both waiting for the best time to take action. 1 second, 2 seconds, and several seconds passed. They still did not move. It seemed that they were fighting in the spiritual world with their eyes. The dissatisfaction of the audience below the arena had already begun. Some people started to curse. "Are you going to fight or not? If not, we will withdraw our bets and go home." At this moment, Yang Deng's eyes were full of vigor. He could not help but say, "This is a fight between masters." Ma Chao, who did not know what was going on, followed him and said, "Yes, this is a real master. And he was so weak just now. I don't know whether he came here to cheat Lord Luo of his money or not." Qin Sheng sat in the resting area, munching on melon seeds and drinking tea. He was waiting for Chang Baji to become famous in Hangzhou. At the moment when Qin Sheng put down the teacup, Chang Baji and Yin Qing almost took action at the same time and went straight to each other's famous sections. A big fight like Mars colliding with Earth finally began. In the blink of an eye, Chang Baji and Yin Qing began to fight. Chang Baji chopped at Yin Qing's shoulder with his palm. Chang Baji, who was famous for his Baji boxing and 8 trigrams palm, naturally took the lead to attack. He would not give Yin Qing any chance to breathe. He liked this kind of fighting style, which was to lead the rhythm rather than being led by the nose by others. Yin Qing dodged sideways calmly and punched at Chang Baji's abdomen. At the same time, he had to face the heavy pressure from Chang Baji's left hand. Chang Baji took 2 measures at the same time. He lifted his knee to block Yin Qing's punch and did not take it seriously at all. At this moment, Yin Qing only cared about defending against Chang Baji's left attack. It did not occur to him that after Chang Baji's palm chopped down, he could forcibly stop halfway and hit his right ribs directly. Feeling the heavy hit on his ribs, Yin Qing gritted his teeth and kicked at Chang Baji directly. At this moment, Chang Baji could only jump backward. If he continued to chase after Yin Qing, he would only be hit. However, Yin Qing thought that Chang Baji would dodge, but Chang Baji did not. His knee, which had fallen to the ground, suddenly lifted again. At the same time, he exerted force with one foot and directly hit Yin Qing's chest. Both of them hit each other at the same time. Yin Qing fell backward, while Chang Baji fell to the right side. He staggered and stood firm. At the beginning of the game, the ordinary audience did not know who had the upper hand. They thought that both of them had fallen to the ground and both of them had been injured. Only the famous people like Qin Sheng knew that Chang Baji had the upper hand. His series of dazzling attacks made Yin Qing unable to defend himself. Yin Qing thought that he could force Chang Baji to leave, but Chang Baji chose to bear the price and gain more. Yang Deng could not help but applaud as he said, "Awesome." He believed that if it were him, he would not be able to suppress Yin Qing at all. At the same time, he also firmly believed that he would not make such a reaction like Yin Qing had. They didn't know whether Yin Qing was testing the water or holding back his strength. They couldn't decide who would win or lose based on the beginning of the match. The match was still going on. Chang Baji and Yin Qing both knelt on the ground. They were like cheetahs and lions. After a glance, they rushed to each other at the same time. Yin Qing did mean to test his strength at the beginning of the game, but he did not expect that the man in front of him would be so powerful. He knew that if he chose to defend, he would have no chance to win at all. So he chose to attack. Today, he would lose, but it was worth it to stand here to his heart's content. Chang Baji occupied the ground with his footsteps. He still attacked from two directions at the same time, taking Chang Baji by surprise. Yin Qing attacked with defense, not fearing Chang Baji's attack at all. This time, they fought back and forth for several minutes. Chang Baji gained a lot of advantages, but Yin Qing did not make it easy for him. With dazzling attacks and defenses, as well as wonderful skills and movements, the audience did not expect that the most exciting game would be this challenge game, which was suddenly added. It was even more exciting than the last game, just now. Yin Qing launched another attack. He took the initiative to attack Chang Baji. His domineering and fierce continuous kicks went straight to Chang Baji. There was no flaw for Chang Baji to seize. It was not until the last kick flew over that Chang Baji took the risk to grab Yin Qing's ankle. However, the force on his hand could not be felt by ordinary people. It could completely break his fingers. Yin Qing just frowned slightly, but he did not panic at all. He did not give Chang Baji a chance to fight back. He directly rose from the ground and went straight to Chang Baji's face with his knees. Chang Baji just snorted and directly let go of his whole shoulder to Yin Qing. At the same time, he moved 1 foot forward, gathered all his strength, and hit Yin Qing head-on. When Yin Qing saw this move, he turned pale with fright. Could the Baji Mountain Lean be used in this way? However, he could not stop his momentum. With a bang, the two collided with each other. Yin Qing, who was in the air, was hit and sent flying like a kite with a broken string. His legs were almost deformed. When he lay on the ground, the result of this game was self-evident. Chapter 263. Accepting the challenge no matter what everyone had guessed before the competition, no matter what everyone had expected during the competition, the result in front of them was the biggest fact at the moment. Everyone had to accept it. Chang Baji won, and Yin Qing lost. And the price he had to pay was that he might have to stay in bed for several months, because his legs had been seriously injured and he could not stand up at all. It was undeniable that the process of the competition was very wonderful. Both sides performed a visual feast for the audience. However, after the result of the competition came out, some people were happy, while others were sad. Chang Baji won the competition in the shortest time. Luo Changgong, Yang Ding, and the others became the biggest winners on the scene. This was because, excluding the scattered spectators, they had bet 35 million on Chang Baji. Yuan Ku and his companions became the biggest losers. It could be said that they had lost a lot of what they had won tonight. Those spectators who had placed their bets on Yin Qing were also wailing. It did not occur to them that this ordinary-looking middle-aged uncle could actually defeat the monk. This should be the second contestant who had won a challenge since the establishment of the boxing field. After a short silence, the audience burst into an uproar. All kinds of voices filled the air. The host announced that the winner of the challenge tonight was Chang Baji. Luo Changgong and the others below the stage were all smiling. They were happy to see Yuan Ku and the others being defeated. Weren't you very awesome just now? Why don't you show off now? Are you stupid? Although Qin Sheng was a little nervous, he had been sitting there drinking tea all the time. He still had confidence in Lao Chang. At this moment, Luo Changgong could not help but say, Qin Sheng, I didn't expect that your subordinate could be so good at martial arts. You should have told me earlier. Qin Sheng smiled gently and said, Brother Luo, Lao Chang is not simple. Ha 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 ha. Thank you so much today. I won't say too many words. I will treat you tomorrow night. Luo Changgong had won money and made a bet. Of course, he was very happy. Yang Ding was still thinking about the process of the competition just now. He had to get the video of the competition tonight and study it carefully later, especially the fight between Chang Baji and Yin Qing, which was really a textbook experience. Ma Chao ran to Qin Sheng happily and said, "Brother Qin, you are really awesome. Now you're my idol. If I believe in Brother Qin, I will have meat to eat." Ha ha. Qin Sheng rolled his eyes at him. On the other side, Li Jun's henchman smiled and said, "Boss, we are just going to congratulate them. After all, we are old friends. Let's go." Li Jun stood up happily. He remembered that Qin Sheng and the Yin family were not on good terms. Now that he was somewhat famous in Hangzhou, the Yin family should know about him. At that time, there would be another big drama. Of course, he did not want to get involved in this mess. Yuan Ku and his wealthy young master were not as calm and composed as they had been a moment ago. The expressions on their faces were quite complicated. The young master snorted coldly as he said, "Uncle Yuan, didn't you say that we could win?" "Young master, this is my fault. I did not expect that Qin Sheng would bring experts with him," Yuan Ku said viciously. He had really failed miserably in an easy task. The originally good situation had been reversed by Qin Sheng. The foppish young master said disapprovingly, "It's all right. I haven't met such an interesting person for a long time. As long as he is still in Hangzhou, we will have plenty of chances to play with him. Let's go." As a result, the foppish young master left with Yuan Ku and the others in a flustered and exasperated manner. Luo Changgong and the others did not want to beat them when they were down. In the VIP room of the underground boxing field, a tycoon was staring at the monitor. His attention was completely focused on Qin Sheng. He said with interest, "Do it according to the rules. Give him 5 more points. I think there will be cooperation in the future." 2 of his subordinates left in a hurry. The income of the challenge was extra. Both the winner and the loser had a proportion of the share. Of course, the casino would get the biggest share. The winner would be the second, and the loser would be the last. Consequently, Qin Sheng did not know the unexpected wealth at this moment. It should be said that it was won by Chang Baji. On the arena, Chang Baji had not left yet. That was because he had also tried his best tonight. He had met an opponent that he really appreciated. They were just opponents, not enemies. Consequently, Chang Baji still respected Yin Qing. This was the rule of martial arts practitioners. Yin Qing, who had climbed up from the ground, shook his head and smiled bitterly as he said, "You are very powerful. I admit my defeat wholeheartedly." Although he had lost feeling in his legs at this moment, he definitely had to go to the hospital for an operation. Yuan Ku was kind. He did not abandon Yin Qing like this. He had already arranged people to deal with the aftermath. After all, Yin Qing had a relationship with the old monk's master. Chang Baji nodded silently and said, "If there is a chance, we will compete with each other again. You are welcome to do so at any time." Okay. Yin Qing's eyes were burning. This was nothing more than what he wanted. Since they had finished what they needed to do, Qin Sheng and Chang Baji were not interested in staying here anymore. At this moment, the staff of the boxing field stopped him and told him the rules of the challenge. He might get a lot of bonus. Qin Sheng said to Yang Deng, who was beside him, "You find someone to do it. You can transfer it to my card later." "Okay, I will tell you now," Yang Deng said casually. This could be considered that Qin Sheng trusted him. Qin Sheng said goodbye to Luo Changgong and the others. Then he left with Chang Baji first. He knew that after the fight tonight, Chang Baji would be famous in the whole Hangzhou. On the way back, Qin Sheng chatted with Chang Baji. "How about tonight? Did you enjoy yourself? I guess you have been itching for a fight in the past half a year." Chang Baji chuckled and said, "Well, it is rare for me to meet a strong opponent." Qin Sheng said happily, "You are famous tonight. It will be easy to deal with Luo Changgong later. I heard from Yang Deng that Brother Luo often looks for fighters to fight. He will definitely find you later." Chang Baji said thoughtfully, "If there is a chance, we can ask Xiaobo and the others to come here and have a try. It is also a kind of training." "Okay, you can discuss with Brother Luo later. You can earn some extra money more or less. I guess you can get a lot of money from tonight's fight. I will transfer it to your account later." What Qin Sheng needed was not money. Chang Baji won this fight, and he deserved it. Of course, he would not take it for himself. Chang Baji shook his head and said, "I don't need it. You take it first." We don't need to divide it so clearly. What Changbaji said moved Qin Sheng. This kind of trust could not be shared with anyone, so he did not say anything more. In the future, what should belong to Changbaji would not be less. When Qin Sheng returned to his cozy home in the Golden Coast, Lin Su had already taken a shower. She was sitting on the sofa reading a book and waiting for Qin Sheng. She got off work early today and cooked for him. Qin Sheng told her that he might come back late, so she did not care. The biggest trust she had for Qin Sheng was that no matter how long he was busy outside, he would come home at night. Lin Su was also touched. Lin Su stood up and greeted Qin Sheng. She said casually, "I cooked some porridge tonight. If you are hungry, you can have some." Qin Sheng was indeed a little hungry, so he went to the kitchen and cooked some porridge. At the same time, he said, "Wife, we got a windfall tonight. We can settle down in Hangzhou." Hearing Qin Sheng's words, Lin Su was a little confused. She said, "Did a pie fall from the sky?" Of course, Qin Sheng would not hide it from Qin Sheng. He told her what had happened tonight. Lin Su frowned slightly and said, "Don't take risks in this kind of thing in the future." "I know. That's not what I meant," Qin Sheng explained. Lin Su thought for a moment and said, "Let's not rush to buy a house. It's not bad to live here. Let's talk about it after the new year. You keep some money as a backup. I'll help you invest the rest first. As for Lao Chang's share, just let me know when he needs it." Of course, Qin Sheng listened to Lin Su's arrangement. He chuckled and said, "I'll listen to my wife." Lin Su rolled her eyes at Qin Sheng and ignored him. Life was still peaceful. Qin Sheng and Lin Su were busy with their own things every day. However, Lin Su would go on a business trip in 2 days. Qin Sheng was more or less reluctant, but this was what Lin Su liked to do, so he could not interfere. For the next few days, Qin Sheng was socializing. He took the time to visit Poly International and Yunding International twice. When he went to Yunding International again, Song Wei's attitude had changed. He started to stand on Qin Sheng's side. Lao Zhou was now a professional manager. It was obviously impossible for him to return to his previous position. Now, Qin Sheng, the rising star, was the most powerful person in Yuanda. Of course, Song Wei did not dare to treat Qin Sheng like before, unless he wanted to leave Hangzhou. Next, Qin Sheng had to face Yin Chaozong, who had already known about him. He rushed to Hangzhou early the next morning. He spent a few days to investigate almost everything about Qin Sheng in Hangzhou. After all, these things about Qin Sheng were known by everyone. It did not take much effort. Of course, Yin Chaozong would not face Qin Sheng alone this time. The Lin family was a big business in Zhejiang. They had natural resources and connections in Zhejiang. They could make a preemptive strike. He hid behind and schemed against Qin Sheng. This time, he wanted to play dirty. Chapter 264. Do you want to cooperate? Han Bing came to Hangzhou. When Qin Sheng received the call, he was not surprised. After all, he had talked to Han Bing about this before. Later on, Hale had also talked to Han Bing about it. It was just that Han Bing did not express her opinion. However, he did not expect that she would really come to him without saying anything. As for Han Bing's feelings, Qin Sheng, who understood everything, really did not know how to deal with it. He did not want to have both of them. It would be unfair to both of them. He could only hope that Han Bing would slowly let it go, or that she would meet someone better. Anyway, as a friend, Qin Sheng had to see Han Bing when she came to Hangzhou. So he took Changbaji and Hao Lei straight to Han Bing's place in Hangzhou, which was located in a high-end residential area beside Westlake. This was a house of Han Bing's friend in Hangzhou, located beside Westlake. You could see the beautiful scenery of Westlake when you opened the window. Although she had just arrived in Hangzhou this morning, she had already asked people to clean the house in advance, so she could move in directly. When Qin Sheng and the others knocked on the door and came in, Han Bing was packing her things. Seeing Qin Sheng again, Han Bing was in a good mood. She joked, "You finally returned to the organization. Are you happy?" Hale had been with Han Bing for the longest time and had the best relationship with her. He said happily, "Welcome to the beautiful Hangzhou, Miss Han." Qin Sheng was speechless. "You didn't even tell us in advance, and suddenly came here to give you a surprise." Han Bing, who was dressed very beautifully today, chuckled. Her eyes were full of tenderness when she looked at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng snorted. Not a surprise, but a shock. You are such a boring person. Why? You don't welcome me to Hangzhou? Don't worry, I won't disturb your little life. Han Bing deliberately ridiculed Qin Sheng. After greeting Han Bing, Chang Baji ran to the balcony to enjoy the beautiful scenery of West Lake. This city was famous because of West Lake, so he wondered what this city would be like without West Lake. I called you a few days ago, but you didn't say anything. I thought you didn't plan to come to Hangzhou. Hao Lei helped Qin Sheng out. Hao Lei was in a good mood recently, not as dull as before, because Qin Sheng had a good chat with him. Maybe it was because he had followed Qin Sheng to Shanghai back then. Hao Lei did not have many friends in Shanghai. His life had always been pushed by Qin Sheng. He did whatever Qin Sheng asked him to do and never refused. Those in the know knew that Qin Sheng and Hao Lei were best buddies. Those who didn't know might think that Hao Lei was just Qin Sheng's trusted subordinate. Or maybe it was because the things that Qin Sheng had done and the people that he had come into contact with were people that he could only look up to. Therefore, Hao Lei felt somewhat inferior in front of Qin Sheng. Therefore, most of the time, as long as Qin Sheng was around, Hao Lei would not speak much, even though he was very familiar with most of the people in Qin Sheng's circle. Qin Sheng did not pay attention to this until Lin Su mentioned it casually a few days ago. She said that Hao Lei and Hao Lei were not like best buddies, but more like leaders and subordinates. Hao Lei was basically silent in front of you and did whatever you said. It was not until then that Qin Sheng realized that something was wrong. After thinking about it carefully, he realized that he had been neglecting Hao Lei's feelings. So he found a chance to have a good chat with Hao Lei. It was okay if they were in the company or in front of outsiders, but it would be better if they were friends. Hao Lei did not think much of it, but since Qin Sheng said so, he would do as he said. Hearing Hao Lei's words, Han Bing chuckled and said, "You are all in Hangzhou. It's so boring for me to be alone in Shanghai. How did you deal with the company?" Qin Sheng asked. After all, Han Bing's design company was really good. It was also a career that Han Bing liked. Han Bing shook her head and said, "You don't have to worry about this. I've already arranged it. At the same time, I will open a branch in Hangzhou. We have many clients in Hangzhou, but if you can introduce more clients to me, I won't say no." Since Han Bing had already arranged it, Qin Sheng did not say anything more. This was Han Bing's choice. If she was willing to do this, Qin Sheng could not stop her. After chatting for a long time, it was already lunchtime. They found a restaurant near the community to have lunch. After that, Qin Sheng and the others left. Han Bing had a few friends to come over in the afternoon. Hao Lei and Chang Baji went back to the company. Qin Sheng went to Guangyin Live first. Guangyin Live had been closed for renovation. Yu Fengji was in charge of everything. It would be reopened in the middle of next month. She had already contacted a few management companies and was choosing the singers for the month of reopening with Yu Yixiao. Yu Yixiao was in charge of the music. After staying in Guangyin Live for a while, Qin Sheng went to Brother Luo's place. Today, Brother Luo took the initiative to ask him to talk about something. At the same time, he said that he would introduce a friend to Qin Sheng. Yang Deng was naturally there. After all, he was the one who introduced them. When Qin Sheng arrived at this private clubhouse located on Beishan Road, the others had already arrived. According to Yang Deng, this was one of their strongholds. It was not open to the public. There were a lot of red wine and cigars. Only by entering this clubhouse could one slowly enter Third Master Wu's big circle. The beautiful manager with outstanding temperament led Qin Sheng into the cigar room. When they pushed the door open, it was already filled with smoke, mixed with the fragrance of various cigars. Other than Brother Luo and Yang Deng, there were two other men who were talking and laughing at the moment. "Yo, Qin Sheng, you're here. Come and sit," Brother Luo greeted casually. He did not get up because he had already recognized Qin Sheng as a friend. Yang Deng let Qin Sheng sit beside him. The waiter poured a glass of red wine for Qin Sheng and said with a smile, 2005 Mutan, try it." The next day after that night, in the underground boxing field, Qin Sheng personally went to deliver the painting that Master Lu gave to Brother Luo. This made Brother Luo very surprised. He did not expect that it would be Qin Sheng who delivered the painting. It could be seen that the relationship between Qin Sheng and Master Lu was not simple. In addition to what happened the night before and the relationship between Qin Sheng and Yang Deng, Brother Luo finally began to take Qin Sheng seriously. Qin Sheng, let me introduce two new friends to you. Brother Luo pointed to the middle-aged man with a small beard on the left and said, "This is the owner of the boxing field that we went to play that night. His name is Bosu. He admires you very much and has always wanted to know you. You made him earn a lot that night. Only in the last challenge match, he earned 20 million yuan. I'm so jealous of him." Qin Sheng knew that those who could sit with Brother Luo were not ordinary people. However, after hearing Brother Luo's introduction, he was still quite shocked. It did not occur to him that this ordinary-looking man was actually the owner of the underground boxing field. The next night, during dinner, Yang Deng and Brother Luo told him about the underground boxing field in detail. It could be said to be one of the best places in the whole of Jiangsu and Zhejiang. Every year, there were only 5 or 6 matches, but each match was very valuable. This was also the golden signboard of the boxing field. The man was dressed very casually, in long sleeves, jeans, and sneakers. He maintained a good figure, and his eyes were very sharp. He had been staring at Qin Sheng since he entered the door. Qin Sheng stood up politely and took the initiative to reach out his hand. "Hello, Bosu." After shaking hands with Qin Sheng, Bosu smiled and said, "Little Qin, I heard from Yang Deng that you are not very good at fighting. Are you interested in playing at my place?" Luo Changgong echoed. "Qin Sheng, Bosu is a bodyguard company, which is the most powerful company in Zhejiang. I have a lot of cooperation with him, and there are many powerful people in the company. You can go and have a look when you are free." Qin Sheng was quite surprised and said, "Okay, then I will visit you another day. To be honest, I have not been active for a long time. I like experts like you. Don't worry, my place will definitely not let you down," Bosu said confidently. He did have this confidence. His family was very influential in the whole of Zhejiang. Whether it was Third Master Wu, the old monk, or Old Master Dugu, they all had to give them some face. No one dared to offend them. Luo Changgong followed up and introduced, "This is my second brother. He just happened to come today. Aren't you in charge of the 2 nightclubs in Chaodanao? Are you interested in chatting with my second brother, the big boss of Huadu International Club?" Hearing the name of Huadu International Club, Qin Sheng was even more shocked. This was the top nightclub in Hangzhou, which was as famous as Oriental Charm. It was said that this boss owned 2 other top nightclubs. Qin Sheng did not expect to see him here today. "You guys talk first. I have something to do, so I will leave first." Before Qin Sheng took the initiative to say hello, the man in a suit and leather shoes stood up and left. He had an appointment with his friends here today. When he was about to leave, he happened to meet Luo Changgong and Yang Deng, who had brought Bosu over. They were all acquaintances, so he came over to drink a glass of red wine and smoke a cigar. Luo Changgong and Yang Deng hurriedly stood up. Luo Changgong smiled and said, "Second brother, then take care. Don't forget to go to Putuwa this weekend to celebrate Old Master's birthday." Bosu also stood up happily, nodded to the man to show his respect, and watched him leave. Qin Sheng was more or less embarrassed. It was obvious that he had been ignored, but he did not break his glass heart. After all, he was a top boss in Hangzhou. He was nothing now. It was okay that he was ignored because he did not have the strength to stand on equal footing with them. When the day came, of course he would not be ignored. Yang Deng had some opinions about his second brother's attitude. After all, he was a friend of him and Brother Luo. But he could understand why his second brother did not give him face. After all, his second brother's social status was higher than theirs. Yang Deng said casually in Qin Sheng's ear, "Don't mind him. He is just like that. He is good at pretending." Qin Sheng did not know whether he should laugh or cry. Yang Deng was really straightforward. He did not treat Qin Sheng as an outsider at all and commented on his second brother in this way. After sitting down, Luo Changgong tried to find a new topic and said, "Qin Sheng, the reason why I asked you to come here today is that Bosu has something to ask of you. That night, we all saw Lao Chang's martial arts skills. To be honest, it did not occur to me that Lao Chang hid his skills so deeply. Boss who needs a martial arts instructor. So, I want to ask if Lao Chong is interested. Qin Sheng frowned slightly. It was true that one would not go to the temple for no reason. He was wondering why he could meet this big boss behind the scenes today. It was too easy. It turned out that he had something to ask. Boss who said politely, "Little Qin, you can think about it. I will definitely pay you a lot. I will not treat my friends badly. However, I'm not trying to poach you. I just hope that you can go there 5 or 6 days a month to instruct me. What do you think?" Qin Sheng was lost in thought. This was really not a difficult thing. However, he did not agree easily. Instead, he said, "Mr. Hu, I have to go back and discuss this with Uncle Chong. Then I will give you an answer. What do you think?" "What do you think? Thank you in advance." Boss Hu said politely, "However, little Qin, I think you should know a lot of masters. If you are willing, I will save a place for you in my boxing field. As for the benefits, I will definitely satisfy you." Chapter 265. Refusal. Boss whose family name was Hu Daong. His ancestral home was in Jishi, Anhui Province. He was from the same clan as Hu Shuiyan, the famous red-top businessman in those days. However, his family was not from the main branch. Later, his branch settled down in Zhejiang Province and had become a famous big family in Zhejiang Province. Although Hu Daong and Luo Changgong seemed to be very close, in fact, Hu Daong had the same relationship with everyone. He could also hold hands and chat happily with Yuan Ke. Everyone knew his temperament. He would not offend anyone, and no one dared to offend him. As long as the conditions allowed, he would help anyone. Therefore, he was like a fish in water in Hangzhou. The underground boxing field was only a small part of Hu Daong's business. However, the profits every year were amazing. He knew how to behave himself and did not monopolize this business. Instead, he pulled in several influential people in Hangzhou City, including some tycoons from functional departments. Hu Daong just treated the boxing field as entertainment. Even so, the boxing field alone had a profit of hundreds of millions every year, not including the part that was distributed to other tycoons. He knew from Yang Ding that although Qin Sheng was a newcomer, he did have some powerful people under him. This was also what the boxing field needed. The higher the quality of the contestants, the more exciting the matches in the boxing field would be, and the more loyal the audience would be. Therefore, he did not mind sharing a share with Qin Sheng. Although Hu Daong met Qin Sheng for the first time, he took the initiative to offer an olive branch. He never hesitated when doing business. Besides, he also heard some things about Qin Sheng from Yang Ding and Luo Changgong. "Boss Hu, I don't know much about this. Can you tell me about our cooperation mode first?" Qin Sheng was really interested in this. Hu Daong knew that Qin Sheng was tempted. He said slowly, "With your permission, you can guarantee that there will be high-quality fighters in every match. If you win every match, I will give you 20% of the net profit. If you lose, I will give you 10%. At the end of the year, I will give you 5% of the dry shares. According to the average value of my boxing field last year, if you win a high-quality match, you can get at least 2 or 3 million. If you lose, you can get millions. At the end of the year, you can get at least 10 million. What do you think?" After Qin Sheng heard Boss Hu's explanation, he was indeed tempted. For him now, it was not a small amount of profit. It was a huge profit. If he could win every match, he would be able to get 20 or 30 million from Boss Hu every year. Anyone would be tempted to give such a sum of money to him. Qin Sheng thought to himself. Qin Sheng had to think about it carefully. Boss Hu was really generous. Luo Changgong echoed as he said, "Qin Sheng, Boss Hu has never been so proactive before. When I bought the shares of the boxing field back then, I had to beg for help. Moreover, there was no bonus for the matches. Boss Hu is treating you as one of his own. What I'm after is the greatest profit. A little bit of money can be exchanged for a lot of money. However, the prerequisite is that your contestant strength must be up to standard. My bodyguard company will check on this aspect," Hu Daong continued. Qin Sheng was not in a hurry to give an answer. He raised his head and said, "Boss Hu, give me 3 days. I will give you an answer to both of your requests. I have to discuss this with my friends first." "Don't worry, I'm very patient," Hu Daong said cheerfully. Then he picked up a glass of red wine and said, I wish us a happy cooperation. Qin Sheng, Yang Ding, and Luo Changgong picked up their glasses at the same time and said, happy cooperation. After a round of toasting, Hu Daong left with satisfaction. This was the main reason why he came to Qin Sheng today. After Hu Daong left, Luo Changgong smiled and said, Qin Sheng, don't worry. Hu Daong is a good guy. Although it's hard to be his confidant, as long as you don't offend him, he won't harm his friends easily. Moreover, we are in the middle. Qin Sheng said cheerfully, thank you for your help, Brother Luo. Luo Changgong laughed and said, we are all friends. Don't mention it. Moreover, you're close to Master Lu. I often need his help now, and I will need your help in the future. Qin Sheng laughed on purpose and said, Brother Luo, you must be joking. You are Master Lu's distinguished guest. You don't need my help. Ha ha ha. We don't need to flatter each other. I haven't seen such an excellent young man like you for a long time. Luo Changgong enjoyed this kind of flattering feeling very much. However, he had other plans today. He continued saying, but Qin Sheng, I have something else to talk to you about today. What is it, Brother Luo? Qin Sheng asked curiously. Luo Changgong chuckled and said, you are so excellent. Why do you want to work for Chowda? He is not as good as he used to be in Hangzhou. How about following me? I will treat you well, or you can come to our place. Yang Ding said he wants to recommend you to the third master. If the third master appreciates you, you can rest assured. Let alone in Hangzhou, even in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai, you can have your own place. After Luo Changgong finished speaking, the smile on Qin Sheng's face froze. Yang Ding also stared at Qin Sheng. He had said the same thing to Qin Sheng before, but Qin Sheng had refused. Today, Brother Luo took the initiative to invite Qin Sheng again. He didn't know whether Qin Sheng would say yes or not. He really had this idea. Next week was his foster father's birthday. At that time, he and Brother Luo would recommend Qin Sheng to his foster father. His foster father would think about it. In that case, Qin Sheng's platform would be improved a lot. Qin Sheng was somewhat surprised, but it was reasonable. He hesitated for a while and said, Brother Luo, I am not an ungrateful person. When I first came to Hangzhou, it was Uncle Chow who helped me get a foothold. He treated me like a national scholar, and I will repay him like a national scholar. Hearing Qin Sheng's words, Luo Changgong knew that he looked down on Qin Sheng. He said lightly, well, since you said so, I won't say anything more. There are not many young people like you, but I will always keep this door open for you. As long as you are willing, you can come here at any time. Qin Sheng picked up the wine glass in a hurry and said, thank you for your appreciation, Brother Luo. This glass of wine is for you. After staying in this private club for more than an hour, drinking a bottle of red wine and smoking 2 cigars, Qin Sheng and Yang Ding came out. Brother Luo was waiting for some friends. Qin Sheng, you just refuse like this? Don't think about it anymore. This opportunity is not available to a group of people. Yang Ding still hoped that Qin Sheng could come here. With Qin Sheng's ability, with such a platform, he could go further and faster. Qin Sheng chuckled and said, I am not a person who forgets friendship at the sight of profit. If I really abandon Uncle Chow and choose Brother Luo, will you be a little disappointed? After hearing this, Yang Ding burst into laughter. This was the Qin Sheng that he admired. At this time, Yang Ding took out a bank card from his pocket and handed it to Qin Sheng. He said, this is the money you won that night. Originally, I planned to transfer it to you directly, but later I asked someone to make a card for me. The password is 6666, and the total is 2 million. Hearing this number, Qin Sheng almost fell down. This was really a profiteering industry. Lao Chang just played a game to practice, and then he made so much money. In that case, he could rely on Lao Chang in the future. Ha 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 ha, this must be a joke. Qin Sheng took the bank card and sighed with emotion. What a damn profiteering. Yang Ding said happily. So you can consider the cooperation with Boss Hu. This is also a kind of primitive accumulation, right? Qin Sheng was speechless. After leaving from Beishan Road, Qin Sheng left the car outside the clubhouse because he was drunk. He took a taxi to a cafe outside the Hangzhou building and accompanied Xue Qingyan to have afternoon tea. Xue Qingyan would go back to Shanghai in a while. She stayed in Hangzhou for a long time this time. After all, the old master had been in poor health. Her brother was so busy that he had no time to come back at all. She could only take care of him carefully. For Xue Qingyan, family and relatives were more important than anything else. She could give up her work, but she must spend more time with her family. This was the obligation and responsibility of a child, so she was somewhat dissatisfied with her brother, who had a bright career. But sometimes when she thought about it, maybe she had not reached the level of her brother, so she did not understand that her brother only cared about himself and his family. Most people in this society were vulgar. So many people thought that everyone was vulgar. But when you met those who had a higher level, you would know the difference between people. When Qin Sheng arrived at the cafe, Xue Qingyan was drinking coffee and eating cake. Seeing Qin Sheng coming in, she waved her hand. Qin Sheng walked over slowly and sat down. He chuckled and said, "Sister, you are alone? I will leave in a while. I'm a little bored now, so I asked you to come over and have a cup of coffee," Xue Qingyan said casually. These days, she almost did not go out and had been staying at home. Qin Sheng joked, "You are a person who is busy by the minute. How can you be bored?" "Maybe I am too tired these days, so I don't want to do anything." Xue Qingyan shook her head and said, "By the way, what do you think about the thing I told you last time? Master Lu is still waiting for the result." Qin Sheng sighed and said, "Sister, I will thank Master Lu in person another day for his kindness. I did not want to go against Grandpa's words." Qin Sheng and Lin Su had also talked about this matter. It could be said that there were no disadvantages. Lin Su had no opinion about it. She let Qin Sheng do as he pleased. No matter what choice he made, she would support him. After thinking about it carefully, Qin Sheng still refused. "Well, have you really decided?" Xue Qingyan sighed and said. She did not expect that Qin Sheng would really refuse. If he was a young man who wanted to climb up the ladder, he would probably agree without hesitation. "Well, sister, you won't be disappointed, will you?" Qin Sheng nodded and said. After all, this matter involved Xue Qingyan's reputation. If he refused like this, Master Lu would be unhappy and Xue Qingyan would lose face in front of Master Lu. Xue Qingyan shook her head and said, "How can it be? This matter was brought up by Master Lu. I just brought him to ask. If you really refuse, I will explain to you later. Master Lu treats people well." "Sister, then I will have to trouble you," Qin Sheng said in a low voice. He really did not want to break the connection with Master Lu. After all, Master Lu could help him to contact the Chen family. This was the only clue about his origin. Xue Qingyan stared at Qin Sheng and said, "Again." After staying with Xue Qingyan in the coffee shop for a while, Qin Sheng personally sent Xue Qingyan to the high-speed railway station. Anyway, he had nothing to do at this time. Originally, Qin Sheng wanted to ask Xue Qingyan for help. It was just that Han Bing was not in Shanghai. If something happened to Xin, someone needed to take care of her. Later, thinking that there was still Xia Ding, he did not bother Xue Qingyan. Chapter 266. Acting cool with Melon, Sue had just gotten off work when she was dragged to a coffee shop by a female colleague who had been on good terms with her recently. She wanted to talk about some work-related matters. Lin Su wanted to go home early. After all, she was going on a business trip tomorrow and had to pack her things at night. She had no choice but to follow her. However, this female colleague had no intention of talking about work at all. Not long after they stayed in the coffee shop, a rich second-generation heir who had been pestering her recently came. Lin Su could not help but frown. Of course, she knew what was going on. In the past half a month, this rich second-generation heir had been waiting for her downstairs almost every day. He gave her flowers and gifts. Although she had never accepted them, she was very annoyed and had already disturbed her normal work and life. Most people in the company knew that she had a boyfriend. In the beginning, Lin Su told everyone that she was married. Although this white lie was later exposed, colleagues in other departments did not know that she had a boyfriend. They all thought it was just an excuse. Because of this, she rejected many suitors. She met this rich second-generation heir at a thank-you banquet in the company. This rich second-generation heir's family was a big client of the company's fundraising, who knew that after they met that day, this rich second-generation heir began to crazily chase after her. She rejected him many times, but she still could not make him give up. After seeing him today, Lin soon knew that her colleague had been bribed. She looked at this female colleague speechlessly. Unexpectedly, this good-looking woman said in a low voice, "Lin Su, he is a big client of our company. We can't offend him. Don't blame me. Just do it perfunctorily." Lin Su was speechless. Lin Su thought for a moment. In the end, she resisted the urge to get up and leave. Instead, she used the excuse of going to the bathroom to call Qin Sheng. Since she could not solve it, she would let Qin Sheng solve it. She did not want to be harassed again. This would affect her work in the company. This rich second-generation heir was the standard hedonistic son of a rich family. He had good looks, and his father was rich, so he often drove a luxury car to pick up girls. He had already won over a few gold diggers in this charity foundation, and this female colleague of Lin Su's was one of them. When he saw Lin Su by chance that day, he decided to pursue her. Such a beauty was hard to come by, but there was no result. So 2 days ago, he bribed this female colleague. As long as she helped him pursue Lin Su, he would give her a reward of 100,000 yuan. When the gold digger heard this, she agreed without hesitation. After all, Lin Su was now the center of attention in the company. The leader took good care of her, and the colleagues around her were all modest. This made her jealous. "Bai Jing, I told you that I have a boyfriend," Lin Su said unhappily. The rich second generation, named Bai Jing, laughed happily as he said, "Lin Su, I know that you have a boyfriend. I just want to be an ordinary friend with you. You won't deny me such an opportunity, will you?" Qi Jia, Lin Su's female colleague, chimed in, "Lin Su, that's right. Mr. Bai is a nice person. He often donates to our foundation. His family has a good relationship with our president. It's not a big deal for us to be friends." "Sorry, my boyfriend likes to get jealous." Lin Su randomly found an excuse. Bai Jing said complacently, "If a man is too possessive of a woman, either this man does not have the confidence to not trust his girlfriend, or this man is mentally ill. What about you?" Qi Jie chuckled. Bai Jing shook his head as he said, "At most, I am a little male chauvinist. As for my girlfriend, I will trust her very much. She can live a free life, and I will not interfere. Mr. Bai, whoever marries you will be very happy. You are young, rich, handsome, and most importantly, good-tempered." Qi Jie flattered him. The two of them echoed each other and had a tacit understanding. However, this little trick was too easy for Lin Su. She had met all kinds of men over the years. In her words, he was just a man who had all kinds of skills to pick up girls. It was a pity that she was a girl. Her appearance was given by her parents. Lin Su had no choice. She was often annoyed because she was too beautiful. Because she could not control other people's behavior, she always wasted a lot of time because of this. Lin Su did not pay attention to the cooperation between the two of them. Bai Jing raised his wrist and revealed the Lang Gu, which was worth more than 600,000 yuan, on purpose. He chuckled as he said, "It's almost time for dinner. Two beauties, do me the honor. Let me treat you." Lin Su refused him without hesitation as she said, "No, thanks. I have something to do today." Bai Jing was somewhat annoyed, but he still said patiently, "Beauty Lin, you have refused me more than 10 times. You have to do me a favor. Otherwise, I will be so embarrassed." "That's right, Lin Su. It's just a meal." Qi Jie tried to persuade Lin Su in a hurry. Lin Su did not give Bai Jing any face at all. She said directly, "I am waiting for my boyfriend. He will be here soon." Upon hearing this, Bai Jing was very happy as he said, "Your boyfriend is coming. Okay, let's have dinner together. We can get to know each other and make friends." He just wanted to meet Lin Su's boyfriend. If he was really a rich man, as others said, who was even more awesome than him, he might give up. If he was just a fake boyfriend, it would only strengthen his confidence. Lin Su was really speechless. It seemed that whatever she said would not work. She really disliked Bai Jing. After they chatted for a while, Qin Sheng, who was not far from here, took a taxi and came over. After he came in, he found Lin Su easily. After all, his wife was the most dazzling existence no matter where she went. Qin Sheng walked over slowly. Lin Su also saw Qin Sheng. Finally, a smile appeared on her face. She stood up and held Qin Sheng's arm. She introduced Qin Sheng like a little girl. "This is my boyfriend, Qin Sheng." Bai Jing looked Qin Sheng up and down calmly. Qin Sheng was wearing simple khaki pants, leather shoes, and a polo shirt, which did not seem to be from any famous brand. He was wearing an old Shanghai watch on his wrist. All the clothes he was wearing probably cost at most 2,000 renminbi. Bai Jing already knew that Qin Sheng was not a rich second generation. At first glance, he was just a loser. However, he did not know that Qin Sheng's old Shanghai watch was enough to defeat him in a second. Until now, nobody knew the story of this watch. Hello. Lin Su had already told Qin Sheng what was going on over the phone. Consequently, Qin Sheng did not have a good impression of this couple at all. Consequently, he just nodded slightly and did not intend to shake hands with them at all. Both Bai Jing and Qi Jie greeted Qin Sheng casually. Qin Sheng sat beside Lin Su. Lin Su held Qin Sheng's hands tightly and looked at Qin Sheng tenderly, which made Bai Jing quite unhappy. Qin Sheng's words made Bai Jing very unhappy. Bai Jing said disapprovingly, "You are Lin Su's boyfriend. You're a little different from what I imagined." Qi Jie echoed, "Wow, I finally see your real face. I have been wondering what kind of man could win Lin Su's heart. Today, I finally see it." Since Qin Sheng had already arrived, Lin Su's attention was all on him. She did not bother to pay attention to others and let Qin Sheng take the initiative. She believed that Qin Sheng would handle it well. Qin Sheng was about to say something, but Bai Jing said before him, "Beauty Lin, since your boyfriend is already here, let's go to eat. I know a good Western restaurant nearby." Qin Sheng pretended to be timid and said, "Western restaurant?" Qi Jie said deliberately, "Master Bai, it seems that we can make Lin Su's boyfriend eat a big meal today." Qin Sheng continued to act as he said, "How about you eat first? I still have something to do." Bai Jing snorted as he said, "Beauty Lin, your boyfriend does not give me face at all." Lin Su looked at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng said awkwardly, "You go to eat first. I have to talk with Lao Chong. He is not far from here. After you finish eating, I will come and pick you up." Lin Su did not know what Qin Sheng was planning, but she still agreed and said, "Okay, I will call you later." Bai Jing had already confirmed that Qin Sheng was not the so-called rich second generation. Upon hearing that Qin Sheng did not dare to go to a Western restaurant, he was so scared that he did not dare to go there. His pocket must be cleaner than his face. Today, he could show off to his heart's content. Consequently, he said, "Okay, Beauty Lin, let's go." After they stood up and left, Bai Jing went to the parking lot to drive his car. Qin Sheng, Lin Su, and Qi Jie waited by the roadside. Qin Sheng whispered to Lin Su, "Don't give him face. Make him pay later. Just leave the rest to me." Lin Su smiled and said, "You're playing tricks again." Qin Sheng snorted as he said, "Since he dares to harass my wife, I will definitely make him pay." After waiting for a few minutes, Bai Jing stopped by the roadside in a Porsche Panamera of the latest model. He rolled down the window and shouted, "Two beauties, let's go." Qin Sheng smiled and thought, "Since you insist on pestering me, I can only be ruthless and let you remember this lesson. In the future, don't try to hook up with every beauty you see." Lin Su glanced at Qin Sheng. After that, she and Qi Jie were about to get in the car. Bai Jing said proudly, "Buddy, how are you leaving? Do you have a car? Do you need a ride?" Qin Sheng still pretended to be weak and said, "Don't bother. I can take a taxi." Upon hearing this, Bai Jing despised Qin Sheng again in his heart. He did not even have a car. How could he pretend to be a rich second generation? He did not know how he had deceived Beauty Lin. Thinking that such a beauty had been conquered by others, Bai Jing felt somewhat sad. After Lin Su got in the car and left, Qin Sheng took a taxi to Poly International, which was not far away. This place was indeed very close to Poly International. Consequently, before Qin Sheng came here, he had already asked Gu Xiaobo to keep an eye on it. At this moment, Gu Xiaobo also followed Qin Sheng. He did not trust any man. In Poly International, Chang Baji had been waiting for Qin Sheng. At this moment, Poly International had not opened for business yet. Chang Baji had just finished a meeting and was drinking tea in the office. When he saw Qin Sheng coming in, he asked, "What did you ask Xiaobo to do?" Qin Sheng said casually, "To handle a small matter." Chang Baji did not ask further. He just said, "You said you came to me for something. What is it?" Qin Sheng said with interest, "Today, Yang Deng gave me a card. It is the prize money of the last competition that night. Can you guess how much it is?" Chang Baji frowned slightly and did not ask. He just waited for Qin Sheng's answer. Qin Sheng said directly, 2 million yuan. After Chang Baji heard the number, even though he had seen the world, he was still somewhat surprised. He murmured, "It seems that I can't do it anymore in the future. I have a way to make money." Qin Sheng said softly, "I asked Lin Su to invest the money. If you want to use it, you can tell me at any time." Qin Sheng said softly. Compared with ill-gotten wealth, Qin Sheng only wanted to take a small fraction of it. The rest of the money belonged to Chang Baji. After all, Chang Baji had won with his own ability. Qin Sheng took the opportunity and said, "If you're interested, it will really work. Today at Lao Luo's place, I met the behind-the-scenes boss of the boxing field. He talked to me about two things and asked me to think about it. I'm going to discuss it with you." Chang Baji asked, "What are they?" Consequently, Qin Sheng told Chang Baji what he and Boss had talked about today. After listening to Qin Sheng, Chang Baji was lost in thought. If what Qin Sheng said was true, the boss was indeed somewhat powerful. Then this matter was a bit interesting. Chang Baji said thoughtfully, "I don't have any problem with the first thing, but I have to think about the second thing. There are high-quality fighters in every competition. This is not a simple thing." Qin Sheng nodded and said, "Okay, then you think about it first. I will give him an answer later." Chapter 267. Running away after fighting Qin Sheng had already come up with several countermeasures to deal with this kind of rich second generation who liked to be pretentious. The worst result was to have a good talk with him about life and ideals, so that he would understand that not every woman could be touched. Chang Baji followed Qin Sheng out of Poly International very confusedly. Anyway, he had already finished his meeting and arranged everything that needed to be arranged. Except for special guests, he would go and toast them face to face. As for the other guests, he would be in charge of those managers and so on. The Western-style restaurant that by Jing took Lin Su and Qi Jie to was not far from here. It was only a 10-minute drive. Chang Baji drove the Mercedes-Benz E-Series that was given to him by the company. Anyway, as the person in charge of Poly International, he had to have this kind of outfit. In the Western-style restaurant, the happiest person was not by Jing and Qi Jie, but Gu Xiaobo, who was sitting not far away. Today, they were going to eat and drink at the expense of the company. He seldom ate high-end Western-style food. It was rare for him to have such an opportunity today. Of course, he would not miss it. He ordered a lot of dishes. Even the waiters were worried that he could not finish them. As for Lin Su, since Qin Sheng had made such an arrangement, she followed his order. She did not save money for Bai Jing. Basically, she ordered the most expensive dishes. She even ordered a bottle of red wine, which cost more than 6,000 yuan. Originally, Bai Jing thought that if he could get Lin Su drunk, this meal would not be in vain. However, after Lin Su ordered the wine, she did not intend to drink at all, which made Bai Jing so angry that he almost lost his self-control. No matter how he and Qi Jie persuaded her, she did not drink. When Lin Su almost finished eating, she stood up and went to the bathroom. She called Qin Sheng and asked him to pick her up. Bai Jing and Qi Jie were discussing the countermeasures. Bai Jing snorted and said, "No matter what, I will win her over today, no matter if it is soft or hard. After the meal, I will invite you to the bar. At that time, you will find a way to get her drunk. If you succeed today, I will give you an extra 50,000 yuan." Hearing that, Qi Jie cheered up immediately. However, she was a little worried and said, "Isn't Lin Su's boyfriend coming to pick her up? What should we do?" Bai Jing sneered and said, "Find a way to trick him to go to the bar. I will ask some friends to help. At that time, we will get him drunk together. You don't have to worry about the rest. As Qi Jie stroked Bai Jing's thigh, she said lewdly, I will listen to you. Whatever you say, I will do. This scene was seen by Gu Xiaobo, who was not far away. He finally understood why Brother Qin asked him to come over. It turned out that this adulterous couple was scheming against Brother Qin's girlfriend. Weren't they courting death? Not long after, Lin Su came back and said softly, Let's go. It's still early. Why don't we go to the bar? Bai Jing revealed his long again and said with a smile. Lin Su frowned slightly and said, My boyfriend will be here soon. I won't go. You guys go have fun. Lin Su, let's go. It's so boring for us to go. You can ask your boyfriend to come along. The more the merrier, Qi Jie chimed in. Following that, Bai Jing said, Let's wait for your boyfriend here. I'll talk to him later. I'm sure he will agree. Is that okay? Let's talk about it after my boyfriend is here. Lin Su took a step back and said. She really did not know what Qin Sheng wanted to do. After a few minutes, Qin Sheng finally arrived. However, he did not go upstairs. Instead, he waited downstairs. After Lin Su received the call, she went downstairs with Bai Jing and Qi Jie. Chang Baji sat in the car and waited for Qin Sheng. After seeing Qin Sheng, Bai Jing taunted him directly as he said, Hey, buddy, since you were here, why did he go upstairs? Are you afraid of paying the bill? Don't worry. It's my treat today. Qin Sheng chuckled as he said, You are richer than me. Of course, you should pay the bill. I won't be a fool. Seeing Qin Sheng's petty look, Lin Su, who was beside him, could not help but laugh out loud. She knew that Qin Sheng began to tease Bai Jing. Bai Jing knew that Qin Sheng was mocking him. He snorted as he said, It's not wrong to be rich. It's wrong to be poor. Nowadays, there's so many poor people. However, some poor people are still self-righteous. Don't be afraid. I won't borrow money from you. If there's nothing else, we'll go first. Qin Sheng said tentatively. He wanted to see if this buddy had any tricks up his sleeves. Upon hearing Qin Sheng's words, Bai Jing said, What's the hurry? We just discussed it. We're going to the bar to play for a while. Lin Su said that she would wait for you. Now that you are here, let's go. But don't worry. It's still my treat. I won't ask you to pay. Qin Sheng took a puff of his cigarette and said deliberately, Go to the bar? I have never been to a bar. Forget it. Bai Jing said in a hurry, We have agreed to go. If you don't go, Lin Su definitely won't go. Buddy, do me a favor. Qin Sheng said disapprovingly. Who are you? Why should I do you a favor? Qi Jie tried to persuade him. Qin Sheng, let's go. Let's go to the bar together. Qin Sheng stared at Qi Jie and said, Do I know you? Am I familiar with you? Don't want to go to the bar with you? Bai Jing did not take Qin Sheng seriously at all. He continued to fool him. Buddy, let's make friends. If you have any problems in the future, you can come to me. I can also help you take care of Lin Su. Qin Sheng began to provoke Bai Jing. He said, Do you really think that I am stupid? You definitely want to hit on my girlfriend. Rich second-generation heirs, like you only know how to spend money to pick up girls every day. I will not be fooled by you. I warn you, stay away from my girlfriend in the future. He cursed the guy next door. Since you have been pestering my wife for so long, I will teach you a good lesson tonight. It did not occur to Bai Jing and Qi Jie that Qin Sheng would have such a big reaction. This was out of their expectation. They looked at Lin Su and wanted her to persuade him. However, Lin Su did not have any intention at all. She just stared at the scenery in the distance. Buddy, you think too much. Lin Su and I are just friends. She's your girlfriend. Even if you don't trust me, you should trust her. Bai Jing said deliberately to sow discord. Qin Sheng snorted. I don't care about that. Anyway, stay away from my girlfriend. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. What if I say no? What can you do to me? Bai Jing's temper had almost been exhausted by Qin Sheng. He did not intend to force a smile on Qin Sheng's face. Since Qin Sheng dared to talk to him in such a tone, of course, he would not give a damn. Qin Sheng liked this kind of tone. After hearing Bai Jing's words, he directly flicked the cigarette but on Bai Jing's body and scolded. Then I will hit you every time I see you. F***CKU. I gave you face, but you don't want it. Bai Jing's action directly angered Bai Jing. He did not give in to Qin Sheng and rushed over without saying anything. Qin Sheng could not wait for him to make the first move. After Bai Jing threw a punch at him, Qin Sheng directly grabbed his arm and pulled his head down. Then, he lifted his knee and hit Bai Jing's abdomen. Only 2 hits were enough to make Bai Jing feel dizzy. Bai Jing felt dizzy. Qin Sheng did not dare to hit him hard. He just took 2 breaths and pushed Bai Jing away. After that, he said angrily, "I'm a black dan of Taekwondo. It is more than enough to deal with you." Bai Jing stood up in a panic. He bent over and covered his abdomen. Pointing at Qin Sheng, he said, "You have balls. You actually dared to hit me. I will definitely not spare you today. Okay, I will wait for you here. You call people over. Whoever leaves is a coward," Qin Sheng said disdainfully. Since Qin Sheng wanted to act tough, Bai Jing would definitely let him pay the price. He directly walked to the side and made a phone call. He shouted at his friends to bring people over. Gu Xiaobo had been watching from behind. Originally, he wanted to come up and fight. Later, he gave up. At this time, Chang Baji had also gotten out of the car. He more or less understood why Qin Sheng came over. Qin Sheng gave Gu Xiaobo a look. Gu Xiaobo went to find Chang Baji first. Bai Jing did not notice this scene at all. Lin Su was somewhat worried. Qin Sheng chuckled and said, "This kind of person, you have to hit him hard. Otherwise, he would not know what fear is." Qi Jie was very angry as she said, "Qin Sheng, we are all friends. Why do you have to make trouble like this? You have made a big trouble. Hurry up and apologize to Bai Jing. Otherwise, you will be in trouble later." "Why should I apologize? He started first. Don't think that I don't know what you have done with him. Lin Su is my girlfriend. If I see you again next time, be careful that I will sell you to human traffickers." Qin Sheng warned her fiercely. Qi Jie said disapprovingly, "Who do you think you are?" Qin Sheng did not bother to pay attention to her. He turned around and faced Lin Su. He pointed at a cake shop not far away and said, "You go to the cake shop and wait for a while. After I deal with the things here, I'll go to find you." Lin Su nodded. After that, she walked to the cake shop directly. She did not pay any attention to Bai Jing, who was not far away, and Qi Jie, who was beside him, whose face was livid with anger. Qin Sheng stood where he was and smoked. Chang Baji and Gu Xiaobo sat in the car and waited. About 20 minutes later, Bai Jing's reinforcements arrived. 3 luxury cars were parked by the roadside. 10 young lads got out of the cars. After seeing Bai Jing, they rushed over directly. Upon seeing this, Chang Baji and Gu Xiaobo followed them without hesitation. However, they kept a distance. Qi Jie was afraid that they would make trouble. At that time, she would not be able to get away with it. She said in a hurry, "Qin Sheng, hurry up and apologize. Maybe Bai Jing will forgive you." Bai Jing's friends asked at the same time, "Lao Bai, who beat you?" Bai Jing pointed at Qin Sheng, who was not far away, and said, "It was him." A group of men surrounded Qin Sheng directly and said, "Are you King tired of living? How dare you beat him?" Qin Sheng did not bother to pay attention to them. He asked directly, "Are you going to reason with me or fight with me?" Several men cursed angrily. CKU. Who the CK wants to reason with you? Today we are going to kill you. Qin Sheng mocked them unscrupulously. "Then why don't you fight with me? Are you playing a game?" After Qin Sheng finished his words, he directly rushed to the man who had cursed him just now and kicked him in the face directly. In an instant, his nose was bleeding. It did not occur to the other men that the man in front of them actually dared to fight with him first. Without saying anything, they started to punch and kick him. However, at this moment, there was a commotion behind them all of a sudden. The 2 men at the back flew out directly. Following that, they screamed in horror. It was because Chang Baji and Gu Xiaobo had taken action. 10 men, who at most went to the gym to train their muscles, faced Qin Sheng, Chang Baji, and Gu Xiaobo. What would the result be? The result was self-evident. In just a few minutes, the 10 men all fell to the ground. Their noses were black and blue, and their faces were swollen and bleeding. Bai Jing, who had been beaten down by Qin Sheng just now, was included. Qi Jie, who had witnessed the whole process, was frightened and panic-stricken. She did not know what to do at all. At this moment, many passers-by had surrounded them. Qin Sheng did not want to be the center of attention. He walked directly to Bai Jing, stepped on him, and said, "Do you really think that I am a fool? Next time, when you chase a girl, you should find out whose woman she is. Don't act tough and get slapped in the face." Following that, Qin Sheng took out a business card and threw it to Bai Jing. He said, "This is my business card. If you want to make trouble for me, I will be happy to accompany you to the end. But I advise you to find out the truth first." Chapter 268. The enemy of the enemy is a friend begging for monthly tickets. Friends who have monthly tickets, please give me a monthly ticket. For this kind of rich playboy, threatening him with words would not work. They would not do anything until they saw what they wanted. So it was better to be direct. First, he pretended to be a coward and beat him up. Then, he would reveal his identity and play with him. This could be regarded as collecting some interest. This guy had harassed Lin Su for half a month and did not take him seriously. In fact, Qin Sheng had other ways. For example, he could directly find someone to kidnap this guy, teach him a lesson, and then threaten him. Or he could ask Yang Deng or Brother Luo to send someone to beat him up. But it was not as good as this way, although it was a little vulgar. Someone asked, why did he need to reveal his identity and run away after beating him up? Let Bai Jing find him slowly. Of course, Qin Sheng would not do that. This would shift the threat to Lin Su. Naturally, Qin Sheng would not allow this to happen. This was a matter between men. Men should protect women. Bai Jing and the others watched Qin Sheng, Lin Su, and the others leave in a Mercedes-Benz E-Class not far away. No one dared to chase after them. This group of people had bloody noses and swollen faces. Bai Jing held the business card given by Qin Sheng in his hand and seemed to be thinking about something. Qin Sheng was the vice president of Yuanda Holding Group. He already knew that he had been fooled by Qin Sheng. He was not a loser at all. Instead, he was a master who pretended to be a pig to eat a tiger. In retrospect, it was also his fault. Before chasing after Lin Su, he did not inquire about the background of her boyfriend. Moreover, a woman like Lin Su could not be owned by an ordinary loser. Fu *K, it was really a great disgrace tonight. Qi Jie ran over in a hurry and asked, Bai Jing, are you all right? Originally, she was worried that Qin Sheng might be in trouble. After all, Bai Jing had called so many people over. However, she did not expect that things would turn out contrary to her wishes. Unexpectedly, Qin Sheng also found helpers. Moreover, the three of them had beaten down 10 people. Qi Jie, who was standing beside them, was totally confused. She did not know what on earth had happened. Bai Jing, who was extremely depressed, did not bother to pay attention to others. He stared at Qi Jie and said, "Get away from me. I asked you to be my undercover. You don't even know what her boyfriend does. What can I do with you?" Qi Jie wanted to cry, but had no tears. She thought, "You were beaten? Why are you angry at me? You were beaten. I told you that Lin Su boyfriend is a rich second generation, but you just did not listen. I just met her boyfriend today. Lin Su never talked about him." Of course, Qi Jie would not be so stupid to stay here and be a punching bag. She ran away while crying on purpose. She was a smart woman, but she only knew how to be smart. What she was most afraid of now was that Qin Sheng would make trouble for her. Bai Jing, hoo. Bai Jing's heart. Bai Jing. Bai Jing snorted as he said, "Let me find someone to investigate it. If it's an ordinary character, I will definitely get back at him. If it's really an awesome character, I will accept the loss." After Chang Baji drove for a short distance, Qin Sheng instructed Gu Xiaobo, help me keep an eye on Bai Jing these 2 days. If he makes any moves, inform me immediately. Okay. Gu Xiaobo nodded without any complaint. Chang Baji stopped the car and let Gu Xiaobo get off. After Chang Baji drove to the gate of Poly International, Qin Sheng said to Chang Baji, "Lao Chang, you go to the car. I will drive it away and send it to you tomorrow." Chang Baji did not say anything. He was not worried about what had happened just now. With Qin Sheng's current strength in Hangzhou, it was not a big deal. Qin Sheng drove back to the Golden Coast with Lin Su. Lin Su asked worriedly, "Will anything happen?" "Nothing. You can go on your business trip." Everything will be fine when you come back. But if something like this happens again in the future, inform me immediately. I will solve it, Qin Sheng said casually. Lin Su nodded silently. By the way, where are you going this time? Qin Sheng asked with concern. Lin Su replied, I will go to Guizhou. It may take me about a week to come back. When I am not here, you have to take care of yourself. Also, be careful of me. Got it, my dear wife. Qin Sheng held Lin Su's hand and said softly. The next morning, Qin Sheng drove Lin Su to the airport and then went to the subsidiary. Today, Mizzen had made an appointment with several well-known domestic catering companies. At present, there were no franchises in Hangzhou. She wanted to get the agency rights of these companies. She had already negotiated with them and was ready to sign the contract today. After all, it was impossible to rely on the subsidiary with only 2 nightclubs and 1 bar. They had to find new sources of profit. Qin Sheng believed in Ms. An's ability more or less. Lin Su left Hangzhou, but someone came to Hangzhou quietly. This person was naturally Qin Sheng's old enemy, Yin Chaozong. This time, he was not so high profile, but chose to plot against Qin Sheng behind his back. Yin Chaozong lived in a Manfian, which was next to Tianzhu Ancient Village. This was the best hotel in Hangzhou. It was hidden in the valley, and the environment was quite quiet. The bamboo forest along the road was lush and green, like a primitive ancient village. This was also the design concept of a Manfian. Yin Chaozong was a die-hard fan of a Manfian. Every time he came to Hangzhou, he would only stay here. Every morning, he would go to several ancient temples nearby to burn incense or attend morning classes. After all, the most famous Lingyin Temple and Tianzhu Temple were next to it. The Amanfian villa that Yin Chaozong lived in cost nearly 20,000 renminbi per night. For ordinary people, this was a sky-high price. For Yin Chaozong, it was just a drop in the bucket. Although his family had many properties in Hangzhou, he still liked to live in a Manfian. On the one hand, Yin Chaozong wanted to relax on this trip to Hangzhou, so he brought his new girlfriend a beautiful campus belle of Shanghai Jiaotong University. He gave her 100,000 yuan every month to support her, and she was obedient to him. Since the incident with Lin Su, Yin Chaozong had completely fallen into depravity. After taking a shower and changing clothes, the beautiful campus belle swam in the swimming pool outside. Yin Chaozong waited for Feng He's arrival. During this time, Feng He had been in Hangzhou investigating everything about Qin Sheng and Lin Jing. Half an hour later, Feng He finally arrived. Yin Chaozong made a pot of tea. Amanfian had its own tea mountain because they bought this village directly and kept all the tea mountains. Every year, they would make some tea and give it to their customers. After seeing Yin Chaozong, Feng He greeted him in a deep voice. Young master, you're finally here. Yin Chaozong poured a cup of tea for Feng He and said with a smile, You've worked hard during this time. Young master, it's nothing. I'm making up for my mistakes. I hope I won't let you down this time. Feng He said calmly. Yin Chaozong said thoughtfully, Now tell me, what have you found out during this time? How are they now? This morning, Lin Su just left Hangzhou for a business trip in Guizhou. Qin Sheng is still in Hangzhou. He had a small conflict with a group of people last night. Feng He said slowly. Yin Chaozong waved his hand and said, Go on. At present, he is close to Yang Deng and Luo Changgong on Third Master Wu side. He has a conflict with Yuan Ku on the old monk side. Yuan Ku seems to be looking for him. In addition, his biggest relationship is with Chao De. Chao De values him very much. But Chao De doesn't have much influence in Hangzhou anymore. Feng He continued. It was easy for him to get this information. Seeing that Feng He still had something to say, Yin Chaozong frowned and said, Say what you want to say. Don't be shy. The relationship between him and Xue Qingyin is not simple. They were close in Shanghai before. The Xue family has a great influence in Zhejiang and in Shanghai. Feng He said carefully. Yin Chaozong said with a complicated look, I know about the Xue family. No wonder Xue Qingyin has been busy when he was in trouble. It seems that the relationship between them is intriguing. Young master, it's not easy, Feng He reminded him. Yin Chaozong did not say anything. The Xue family was not a taboo for him. He asked, Why hasn't the Lin family done anything yet? I don't know. Feng He shook his head and said. Yin Chaozong snorted and said, Are you sure you have informed them? I have sent all the information to Lin Chanting personally. It has been 4 days. Maybe the Lin family is just confirming the authenticity of the information, or they're also preparing, Feng He explained. What Yin Chaozong was most afraid of was that the Lin family would give up and start to consider whether Qin Sheng could be accepted by the Lin family. After all, Qin Sheng was doing better in Hangzhou than in Shanghai. But thinking about it, it was impossible. The Lin family was a century-old family. They cared a lot about their reputation. Qin Sheng made them lose face. How could they accept Qin Sheng? Besides, the Lin family needed a marriage to expand their influence and resources. No matter how well Qin Sheng did, it was impossible for him to reach the standard of the Lin family. It could only be said that the Lin family was discussing countermeasures or waiting for an opportunity. Okay, I got it, Yin Chaozong snorted and said. At present, the Lin family had not contacted him. Yin Chaozong guessed that things were still under control. So he smiled and said, You can send someone to leak the information to my brother-in-law and let him ignite this powder keg. I got it. I will send someone to do it now. Feng He laughed and said. Yin Chaozong came back to his senses and asked, Who did you say Qin Sheng had a grudge with just now? Yuan Ku, who is under the old monk, and it seems that the old monk's grandson also dislikes Qin Sheng a lot. Qin Sheng helped Luo Changgong and the others to slap the old monk's face. Yuan Ku and the others were all there. At that time, the old monk's grandson was also there. Yin Chaozong sneered as he said, The old monk's influence in Zhujiang is not small. Since they are enemies, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I will find a chance to visit the old monk's grandson. Hearing this, Feng He laughed sinisterly. He had already predicted Qin Sheng's ending. At this time, Yin Chaozong glanced at the time on his phone and chuckled as he said, Lao Zhang should be here soon. Lao Zhang, and I will make him a dish to go with the wine first. I will let him know that even in Hangzhou, it is very easy for me to deal with him. Elder Zheng was a friend that Yin Chaozong often hung out with. Whenever he went to Shanghai, he would definitely look for Yin Chaozong. Previously, he had even introduced Yi Muyang to him at that high-end private club in Shanghai. The old master of Lao Zheng's family was a big leader in the province. He was very popular in Zhejiang. Since he was in Hangzhou, Yin Chaozong would definitely use this kind of relationship. Chapter 269. Being Despised. Welcome to follow my WeChat public account. Search for Guanzhong Old Man or Xlorin on the public account. Qin Sheng had just made a name for himself in Hangzhou. Yin Chaozong was like a wolf that had caught the scent of its prey. He did not know whether Qin Sheng could withstand the storm this time. Perhaps he had long known that such a day would come sooner or later. After all, Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai were big circles. He was like a fish in water in Hangzhou. Yin Chaozong would find him no matter what. Of course, Qin Sheng was willing to wait as long as possible. However, Yin Chaozong would not give him such a chance. Compared to the time in Shanghai, Qin Sheng had a certain strength to compete with Yin Chaozong. However, compared to the time in Shanghai, he had more opponents. Under Yin Chaozong's instruction, Feng He went out to find Yuan Ku. Yin Chaozong was waiting for his best friend to come. He was thinking about how to take Qin Sheng down a notch. At this time, the beautiful campus belle came back from swimming. She was wearing a black bikini. Except for her chest, which was not very impressive, other parts of her body were really remarkable. She was not an internet celebrity, but a natural face. She looked quite pure. No wonder she could attract Yin Chaozong. Brother, where are we going in the afternoon? The beautiful campus belle put her arms around Yin Chaozong's neck from behind. Her voice was soft, which made people feel comfortable. Yin Chaozong naturally loved her. Yin Chaozong took out a platinum card from his wallet and handed it to the campus belle. I have something to do in the afternoon. I can't accompany you. You go to Hangzhou building to relax. I will take you to Westlake for dinner in the evening. The beautiful campus belle was very dissatisfied. I'm not happy. Yin Chaozong kissed her ear gently. Be obedient. Or I will deal with you when I come back at night. I will accompany you to go shopping tomorrow. How about that? Well, you have to keep your promise. Otherwise, I will ignore you, the beautiful campus belle said with grievance. Yin Chaozong patted her, but indicating that she could go. Yin Chaozong liked smart women who knew how to keep a distance, but could control themselves. They were obedient and had good eyesight. They did not have too many improper thoughts. After all, they knew each other well. They were just taking what they needed. The beautiful campus belle changed into a beautiful dress. The driver sent her to Hangzhou building. Not long after they left, Yin Chaozong's friend arrived. Lao Yin, can you change your taste? Every time you come to Hangzhou, you live in such a remote place. Aren't you afraid of meeting ghosts at night? Lao Zheng scolded angrily. Yin Chaozong said calmly, this place is surrounded by the holy land of Buddhism. I don't know how many masters there are. Which wandering ghost would dare to come here and behave atrociously? You're just a layman. Naturally, you can't appreciate this kind of artistic conception. Lao Zheng shrugged and said, well, I'm a layman, and you're a refined man. Why did you suddenly think of Hangzhou today? Did you hook up with the beauties in Hangzhou recently? I heard that you're a slut now. You change now. Where did you hear that? It's not that exaggerated. I came to Hangzhou for something serious. I need your help. If you don't help me, I won't leave, Yin Chaozong joked. Lao Zheng looked careless, but he was a cautious person. He did not want to be a burden to his father. He said in a low voice, tell me what you need help with. I will try my best. Help me deal with someone, Yin Chaozong said slowly. Lao Zheng said thoughtfully, who? It's the loser who made me lose face in Shanghai. He's now messing around in your territory. This time, I need you to take action, Yin Chaozong explained without batting an eyelid. Lao Zheng reacted immediately. He is in Hangzhou. Is Lin Su also in Hangzhou? Yin Chaozong nodded silently. Tell me the details, Lao Zheng said seriously. No wonder Yin Chaozong came to Hangzhou. He was here for revenge. So Yin Chaozong told him the details, including what Qin Sheng was doing in Hangzhou and the forces behind him. Of course, he would not hide it from Lao Zheng. Otherwise, if Lao Zheng found out, he would not be satisfied. We need to think about it. I will ask around these 2 days. Let's discuss it later, Lao Zheng said cautiously. No matter how strong or weak the opponent was, he had to know the specific situation first. Then, he could make a detailed plan. He could not make any mistakes. Yin Chaozong nodded. I will wait for your news. After chatting for a while, the topic was changed. Lao Zheng suddenly asked, oh yes, Lao Yin. I heard that some time ago, you were trampled by a group of rich playboys from Siju City in Shanghai. What happened? I'm also wondering what happened. They were all people I could not afford to offend. After that, I was worried that there would be repercussions. I planned to go to them to apologize, but they did not pay attention to me at all. I asked around, but I did not know what happened, Yin Chaozong said angrily. This matter had troubled him for a long time. He was afraid that he would meet a strong opponent who would plot against him behind his back. Lao Zheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. This group of rich playboys are so arrogant wherever they go. We really can't do anything to them. As long as nothing happened, I am afraid that you have offended someone. Well, everything is fine now, Yin Chaozong said with a chuckle. Lao Zheng stood up and said, okay, no more nonsense. I will take you to lunch first. After that, I will help you ask around in the afternoon. In the evening, let's drink and have fun with others. After that, the two stood up and left a Mamphian hotel. Clouds and smoke surrounded them, and the sound of Sanskrit could be heard. However, it could not erase the hostility in these people's hearts. Therefore, there were always people suffering in the world. It was not easy for Buddha to liberate the world. For the whole morning, Xiaoshan was busy in the subsidiary company. However, he did not take charge of the situation. Philip was in talk with the other party. He was just learning from experience. The company's team had been mature, and Ms. Ann's ability was obvious. For most of the people in the company, the general manager was like a decoration. Except for occasionally looking at the documents and signing the signature, they directly asked Ms. Ann for other things. At noon, After having lunch with Ms. and several senior executives of the company, Qin Sheng left first. The company's team was responsible for the rest of the things. This time, they directly signed 3 agency contracts and won the agency rights of the whole Hangzhou area. This was also thanks to the financial support from the head office. Lao Zhou dared to cut the budget of any company, but Qin Sheng did not dare to do so. In the afternoon, Qin Sheng was going to the West Lake International Golf Club, which was located on Zhejiang Road, not far from Jushi Rose Garden. This was the best golf course in Hangzhou. Chowda invited several friends to play here. He often came here to play. Of course, Qin Sheng would go to accompany him. There was a distance from the Europe and America Center. Qin Sheng was in a hurry. On the way, he encountered an interesting thing. A beautiful woman was driving a Ferrari convertible. Unfortunately, she drove at the speed of a turtle, which made Qin Sheng feel that it was a waste of this luxury car. When they were waiting for the traffic light, they waited side by side. Qin Sheng rolled down the window and looked at the beautiful woman. She was wearing sunglasses and had long hair. She was very beautiful. The beautiful woman also felt Qin Sheng's eyes. She looked at Qin Sheng subconsciously. She did not avoid Qin Sheng's eyes. They looked at each other for a few seconds. When the traffic light was green, the beautiful woman's Ferrari took the lead and rushed over. However, she drove at the speed of a turtle after a short distance. After Qin Sheng caught up with her, they waited side by side again. Qin Sheng looked at the beautiful woman again. He smiled faintly and directly overtook her. Unexpectedly, the Ferrari caught up with him after a short distance. What was worse was that she directly blocked in front of Qin Sheng. Obviously, she was angry, which made Qin Sheng very speechless. Qin Sheng tried his best to overtake her. He accelerated, and soon she caught up with him again. This time, she directly drove side by side with Qin Sheng. When Qin Sheng looked at her, the beautiful woman in the Ferrari gave him the middle finger without any warning. In an instant, Qin Sheng's heart was full of curses. She could bear it, but he could not bear it. Therefore, he began to accelerate. This time, the beautiful woman in the Ferrari did not drive at the speed of a turtle. She directly ran away. It seemed that she was very skilled. She shuttled back and forth in the traffic. Soon, she disappeared. Qin Sheng smiled helplessly. Today, he was defeated and despised. When I have money in the future, I will also buy a sports car. I don't believe that I can't meet you. When Qin Sheng arrived at the golf course, it was already past 3 o'clock in the afternoon. To his surprise, Qin Sheng saw the Ferrari in the parking lot of the golf course. With his photographic memory, of course, he remembered the license plate of the Ferrari. He did not expect that they had the same destination. Qin Sheng could not help smiling. If he met them later, he must find an explanation. Qin Sheng changed his clothes and was led to Chowda and his 2 friends by the caddy. They were laughing and playing golf on the lawn not far away. The 3 men were all wearing standard golf clothes, followed by a few caddies. Qin Sheng, come here quickly. Why are you so late? Before Qin Sheng approached, Chowda waved his hand and shouted. The other 2 men also stopped at this time, turned around, and looked at Qin Sheng, who was walking over. Qin Sheng walked over and explained, I accompanied my partner to have lunch at noon, so I was delayed. Let me introduce my 2 old friends to you, Lao Yang and Lao Zhao. Chowda introduced them casually. Qin Sheng quickly reached out and took the initiative to shake hands and say hello. The man called Lao Zhao was very approachable and said, Little Qin, do you know how to play? We have a bet today. Qin Sheng said very modestly, I know a little, but I am definitely not as good as you masters. I won't be ashamed. Let me be the judge for you uncles. Ha 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 ha. Okay, then you be the judge, Lao Yang said happily. Then he said to his 2 friends, Let's start. Let's compete today. Therefore, Qin Sheng stood aside and became an onlooker. Of course, he knew how to play golf, and his skills were really good. When he was in Xi'an, Uncle Lin often took him and Xin to the golf course. Smart people like Qin Sheng, as long as they mastered the skills, they would certainly practice makes perfect. Therefore, he could be regarded as half a master. While being an onlooker, Qin Sheng was looking for the beautiful woman in the Ferrari. Oh my God, I must take revenge for the middle finger. Chapter 270. Go on. Today's weather was considered good. It was cloudy and there was no sun. In addition, there was a cool breeze. There were many guests who came to the Westlake International Golf Club to play. Those who could come here were naturally wealthy and respectable people. After all, every membership card was worth a lot. There were fewer people on the lawn where the Ferrari girl was. It seemed that she had specially found a quiet place. It was estimated that she had been hit on many times. After all, beautiful women were rare resources. In such a rich place, of course, there was no lack of rich husbands. Chowda was already sitting under the parasol, resting and chatting. After Qin Sheng greeted Chowda, he walked over there. The pretty girl who drove the Ferrari was dressed in a gray short skirt, a white t-shirt, a white sun hat, and a pair of sneakers, revealing 2 straight and slender legs. The lines of her legs were very smooth and slightly muscular. She was about 168 centimeters tall. However, Qin Sheng could not see her appearance clearly because he was far away. After all, she was wearing big sunglasses on the road just now. He just felt that she was the beauty in the Ferrari. There was only a little girl beside the beautiful Ferrari girl, who should be a part-time caddy on Sunday. When Qin Sheng approached her, the beautiful Ferrari girl waved her club gently. It seemed that she did not care about the result. She sighed and said, "I don't like to be disturbed." Obviously, this sentence was said to Qin Sheng, who came here boldly. Qin Sheng did not leave because of this. "Why didn't you be so cold when you gave me the middle finger just now?" "I'm just here to ask for an explanation," Qin Sheng said indifferently. The beauty in the Ferrari turned to look at Qin Sheng, frowned slightly, and said, "What explanation do you want? Do I know you?" Qin Sheng's first reaction was that he had mistaken her for someone else, but subconsciously he did not think so. Obviously, this should be the trick of the beauty in the Ferrari. Beautiful women always had many tricks. Qin Sheng had to be careful. "On the road just now, you drove a red Ferrari. After overtaking me, you drove side by side with me and gave me the middle finger. Don't think that I won't remember you even if you say you don't know me," Qin Sheng said aggressively. "Don't think that I have to spoil you because you are a beauty." Holding the cue stick in her hand, the beauty stared at Qin Sheng with great interest. She burst into laughter and said, "It turns out to be you. I was wondering who it was. What's so great about driving an Audi A8? You even overtook me on purpose. What's wrong with me giving you the middle finger? Do you want mental damage? How about I sleep with you for one night?" At first, Qin Sheng could understand it. She was an arrogant rich girl. But the last sentence really surprised him. Damn it, this beauty was really wild. However, Qin Sheng would not really think that she would accompany him for a night. This was obviously a joke. Even if she was willing, he was afraid that he would be jumped by a fairy. Qin Sheng was dumbfounded. However, the beauty in the Ferrari laughed so hard that her stomach hurt because of Qin Sheng's embarrassing look. She must have flirted with others like this often. However, the Ferrari beauty did look good when she smiled, especially her white and neat teeth, which made her smile more attractive. "Are you done laughing?" Qin Sheng said unhappily. Apparently, the beauty in the Ferrari felt that Qin Sheng was angry. She tried to hold back her smile and be serious. However, when she was just about to say something, she burst into laughter again. Even the little bald boy beside her could not help but cover his mouth and laugh. Qin Sheng was really annoyed. He had been despised by her on the road just now. At this moment, he was flirted with and ridiculed in such an undisguised way. Damn it, Qin Sheng did not care anymore. He directly patted on the beauty's perky buttocks. She happened to bend over, which was a perfect posture. With a paw sound, this action made the air stop instantly. The beauty in the Ferrari looked incredulous. It probably did not occur to her that Qin Sheng would dare to touch her. The bald boy beside her was also confused. She had seen countless men flirt with this sister Dugu. However, no man had ever dared to be so presumptuous, because this sister had a bad temper. Qin Sheng said complacently, "Go on laughing." He had to admit that it felt really good. It was very elastic. "Since you dare to flirt with me, I also dare to flirt with you. Let's see whose tricks are more profound." The smile of the beauty in the Ferrari had disappeared. Her face was full of anger. She shouted at Qin Sheng, You actually dare to touch me? After she finished speaking, she directly slapped Qin Sheng with her palm. She did not intend to spare Qin Sheng. Of course, Qin Sheng would not let her get what she wanted. He directly grabbed her arm. The beauty in the Ferrari did not stop there. Instead, she kicked at Qin Sheng's crotch without hesitation. Qin Sheng grabbed her beautiful leg again. He turned around and controlled the beauty in his arms. At this moment, their actions were really ambiguous. Fortunately, the beauty in the Ferrari was wearing safety pants. Otherwise, she would have been exposed long ago. Needless to say, safety pants were a big obstacle to human progress. The beauty in the Ferrari was ashamed and annoyed. She struggled and shouted, "Let go of me." Qin Sheng snorted coldly as he said, "I can let go of you, but don't touch me." The beauty in the Ferrari snorted as she said, "Okay, I promise you." Since she was under the eaves, she had to lower her head. Qin Sheng let go of her with trust. As soon as he let go of the Ferrari beauty, she kicked him mercilessly. Qin Sheng had been prepared for this. He stepped back in a hurry and snorted as he said, "The ancients didn't lie to me. It's true that only women and villains are hard to keep. You scoundrel, do you know who I am? If you dare to bully me, I won't let you off so easily." The beauty was so angry that she kept stamping her feet. She had long since lost her noble and elegant demeanor. Qin Sheng shrugged and said, "Now we are even. Nobody owes anyone anything." After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he was about to turn around and leave. However, the beauty who drove the Ferrari snorted as she said, "Is this your way of picking up girls? You should at least leave your phone number or WeChat number. Otherwise, how can we contact each other next time? I have a girlfriend who is prettier than you, so I'm not interested in you," Qin Sheng said straightforwardly. The Ferrari beauty sneered and said, "Stop bragging. How can you be more beautiful than me? Don't think that you can attract my attention by retreating in order to advance." "Boring," Qin Sheng muttered. After that, he left mercilessly. However, the beauty who drove the Ferrari asked closely, "I'm Qingyu. What's your name?" Qin Sheng said without turning his head, "Qin Sheng." The beauty smiled slyly and muttered in her heart, "Well, as long as I know your name, I will find you. At that time, you will kneel down and beg me." Humph. When Qin Sheng returned to Chao Da's side, Chao Da's group had already come to an end. Chao Da more or less noticed the situation over there and also witnessed the entanglement between Qin Sheng and the beauty. Chao Da asked casually, "Is that beauty your friend?" Qin Sheng said gently, "Sort of." Lao Zhao said half-jokingly, "I often see her come here to play basketball. Many young people go over to hit on her, but they all leave angrily in the end. It does not occur to me that Xiao Qin and this beauty actually know each other." Lao Yang laughed out loud as he said, "Pretty good. As a man, it is not wrong to have a few female confidants. Since ancient times, beautiful women love heroes, right? If he were a young man, he definitely would not miss such a beauty. As for chasing a woman, one should cast a wide net and not miss anything." Chowda shook his head helplessly as he said, "All right, let's play for a while more. After that, we go to have dinner. I have already arranged everything. Don't think about escaping tonight. You must drink more." Qin Sheng continued to play basketball with the several old men and did not pay attention to the beauty who drove the Ferrari at all. "Oh, her name is Qingyu. This name is quite interesting." By the time Qin Sheng thought of her, he looked up and found that the beauty named Qingyu had already disappeared. At about 5 o'clock, the several old men finally left. The drivers were waiting outside. Consequently, they left first. Qin Sheng paid the bill with Chao Da's membership card. After that, he rushed over to accompany the beauty. When he finished his business and went to the parking lot to get his car, he found that the beauty named Qingyu was sitting in the Ferrari. At this time, she had already changed into a pink dress. Qingyu bit her red lips and tempted Qin Sheng as she said, "Handsome, we meet again." Qin Sheng did not care about her and was about to leave directly. However, it did not occur to him that at this time, a strong man was standing in front of him and blocking his way. Needless to say, he knew that it was Qingyu's helper. Qin Sheng looked at Qingyu. Qingyu sneered as she said, It is not easy for you to leave after taking advantage of me. Xiao Song, teach him a lesson. Teach him a lesson. The muscular man named Xiao Song nodded slightly as he said, "Yes, Mississippi." After saying that, he rushed to Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng was completely speechless. Did he not check the almanac when he went out today? Why did he meet this beauty? He really would not stop until one of them was dead. Qin Sheng did not have time to think too much. After all, he had to solve the problem in front of him first. He had no choice but to go up to him. He heard Qingyu beside him shouting, "Xiao Song, don't give me face. Beat him hard." The beauty named Qingyu who drove the Ferrari was really watching the fun and did not care about the trouble. A group of muscular men were actually strong in appearance, but weak in reality. Consequently, Qin Sheng did not care about the threat in front of him at all. Even if the man had some skills, he could guarantee that he would not be at a disadvantage. When a man rushed to him and punched him in the face, Qin Sheng had already figured out the route and dodged it easily by turning sideways. The man followed up with another elbow, which Qin Sheng dodged again. However, this time, Qin Sheng did not give him face. He punched the man's abdomen and took 2 steps back. Qin Sheng shouted to Qingyu beside him as he said, "If you don't ask your friend to stop, don't blame me for being impolite." Qingyu said disapprovingly, "Don't be polite. Who asked you to be polite?" This time, Qin Sheng was really angry. When the man kicked him, Qin Sheng also kicked him directly in the back of the man's leg. The man grimaced in pain and could not even stand steadily when he landed on the ground. Qin Sheng leaned forward, grabbed the man's arms, and hit him in the chest with his 2 elbows. The man staggered back a few steps. Qin Sheng did not give him any chance to fight back. He directly hit him with his shoulder, which made him step back a few more steps. In the end, Qin Sheng stuck his foot between the man's legs. He turned around and threw the man over his shoulder with all his strength. The man fell on the ground heavily. He was in so much pain that he could not get up at all. Qin Sheng did not pay attention to him. Instead, he looked at Qingyu and snorted as he said, "Have you had enough?" It did not occur to Qingyu that Qin Sheng was so powerful that he could defeat her friend easily. Seeing that the situation was not good, Qingyu hurriedly started the Ferrari and wanted to run away. Qin Sheng did not give her any chance at all. He rushed over like an arrow and pulled out the Ferrari's key directly. Chapter 271. What if I said no? Fortunately, Qingyu was driving a Ferrari convertible. Otherwise, Qin Sheng would have no way to deal with her. Fortunately, the Ferrari sports car could be started with a key instead of a button like most of the cars nowadays. Qingyu met a tough guy today. She was taken advantage of and wanted to get back at him. However, she was no match for him at all. She suffered a double loss. Although Qingyu was arrogant, she was not a person who would suffer losses when the odds were against her. She immediately replied, "Handsome, this is just a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding." Qin Sheng had no time to argue with her. He snorted and said, "I'll take the key away. You can take a taxi and leave. This is my punishment for you. If you want the key back, come to me to apologize later." After saying that, Qin Sheng ignored Qingyu's confused expression. He directly turned around and walked to his Audi A8L, leaving Qingyu shouting behind him, "Are you a gentleman? I'm a beauty. Don't you know how to have tender and protective feelings for the fair sex?" When Qin Sheng walked to his Audi and was about to start the car and leave, he found that someone had deflated all 4 of his tires. Qin Sheng almost could not restrain his anger and roared, F***CK. Who the hell was so wicked? At this moment, Qin Sheng could think of no one except Qingyu, the beauty who was driving a Ferrari and would not stop until she died. Consequently, Qin Sheng walked to Qingyu angrily and stared at her with murderous eyes. Qingyu was so scared that she jumped out of the car in a hurry and ran away. She said, "If you dare to hit me, I will definitely not spare you. If you don't believe me, you can have a try. Don't think that I will be afraid of you just because you have some skills." Qin Sheng was in a hurry to get there. He could not let Uncle Chow wait for too long. Otherwise, he would be impolite and might be scolded by Uncle Chow. Consequently, after thinking for a while, Qin Sheng directly took out a business card and put it on the car beside him. He said, "This is my business card. I am in a hurry and have no time to play with you. I will drive your car first. After you fix my car, you can call me and change your car." Qingyu was hesitating whether she should do this or not. After all, she and Qin Sheng had known each other for less than half a day. Moreover, her Ferrari could buy several Audi A8L. However, before she could make a decision, Qin Sheng had already gotten in the car and started the Ferrari. It was not that he had never driven a Ferrari sports car before. He started the car and left very skillfully. By the time Qingyu came back to her senses, Qin Sheng had already driven away. She was so angry that she kept stamping her feet. She had really met an enemy today. She had been suppressed in every way. She could not blame anyone for this. It was her fault for letting out all the air in Qin Sheng's tires. It was not until Qingyu heaved a heavy sigh that she picked up the name card that Qin Sheng had placed in the car beside her. She muttered, "Vice President of Yuanda Holding Group. Yo, you're quite capable. You are already a president at such a young age. No wonder you are so arrogant. Just wait and see how I will deal with you." When Qin Sheng arrived at the villa, dinner had just started. Several people were chatting and waiting for Qin Sheng. They did not ask Qin Sheng why he was late, but just asked him to take a seat quickly. As the younger generation, Qin Sheng was the lubricant on the scene. He was already familiar with how to deal with this group of old men. He went along with their topics and occasionally accompanied them to drink a few cups so that the dinner could be carried out in a lively atmosphere. His performance was remarkable, and he did not steal the limelight from others. No wonder Chao De was willing to let Qin Sheng contact his circle of friends. Sometimes he sighed with emotion that if Qin Sheng were his son, he would really not have to worry about anything. What a pity! After dinner, Qin Sheng told the several drivers to send the elders home safely. Of course, he did not forget to give each of them a red packet. After all, they had waited for a whole night. After finishing these things, Qin Sheng had time to call Lin Su. It did not occur to him that Lin Su would speak first. "I was just about to call you. What's wrong? What happened over there?" Qin Sheng asked with concern. She was not familiar with the people in the place, and he was not by her side. Sometimes he was really worried that something might have happened to Lin Su. In particular, the places they had been to were all remote and poor places. Only unruly people could be found in barren mountains and unruly rivers. Consequently, sometimes Qin Sheng really wanted Lin Su to change her job. Lin Su, who had just returned to the hotel, took a shower and was about to rest, said in a low voice, "My family already knows that we are in Hangzhou. Lin, you just called me." This news instantly made Qin Sheng nervous. He did not expect that the Lin family would know so quickly. In fact, thinking about it carefully, the Lin family's base camp was in Zhejiang. Many of their businesses were also in Hangzhou. It was not difficult for them to know that Qin Sheng and Lin Su were in Hangzhou. Moreover, with the Lin family's ability, it was already a little late for them to know, which gave Qin Sheng too much time. After a moment of silence, Qin Sheng comforted Lin Su and said, "Don't worry. They will know it when they know. We're in Hangzhou, under their nose. It will happen sooner or later. You go on a business trip. If anything happens, I will call you." Lin Su shook her head and said, "I am fine. I'm just afraid that they will do something bad to you. So you have to be careful recently. We will talk about everything after I go back. No matter what happens, I will face it together with you." I know. Qin Sheng's simple 3 words had already expressed their trust for each other. After comforting Lin Su for a while and reminding her to take care of herself, Qin Sheng hung up the phone. At this time, Chao De and his 2 friends had already left. Qin Sheng was sitting on the sofa in a daze. He asked the servant to bring him a pot of tea to sober him up. After disappearing for so long, he returned to the public again. All his friends knew that even Yu Fengji and the others had been poached by him to Hangzhou. If the Lin family still did not know, they would be somewhat speechless. Since the Lin family already knew, what about Yin Chaozong? This was Qin Sheng's question. Did he already know or not? But according to the relationship between the Lin family and the Yin family, it was supposed to happen sooner or later. So Qin Sheng had to prepare for the next storm. After drinking a few cups of tea, Qin Sheng was ready to find Changbaji to discuss this matter. It seemed that he really had to be careful recently. He did not want to encounter what happened last time again. After all, he was not a cat demon with 9 lives. At this time, a strange phone call came in. He hesitated for a moment and answered the phone. Hello? Oh, is this? Qingyu, who had just gone to the Queen's bar, scolded. Who the hell? You stinky hooligan. Quickly return my car. I will wait for you at the Queen's gate. Hurry up. Call me when you arrive. Qin Sheng sneered and said, It turns out to be you. You are really bold. Aren't you afraid that I will sell your car? You can lose your car, but I will definitely find you. As long as you're not afraid of regret, you can sell it at will. It is just a broken car, isn't it? Qingyu snorted and did not take Qin Sheng's threats seriously at all. Qin Sheng, who was in a bad mood, did not talk nonsense with her and replied, See you later. After that, he hung up the phone. Qingyu was so angry that she scolded. How dare you hang up my phone? You are really audacious. Qingyu, who is it that made you so angry? A beautiful woman next to her asked. She said that Qingyu looked depressed today and kept muttering when she was eating. Qingyu shook her head and said, No one, just an idiot. Qin Sheng naturally could not drive after drinking, so he called a security guard from the villa who could drive to follow him. The meeting place was at the Queen, next to which was Yunding. Of course, Qin Sheng was not afraid that anything would happen. The security guard had not driven a Ferrari before, so he was more or less careful. Qin Sheng taught him how to drive. After a while, they went to the Queen. Half an hour later, they arrived at the gate of the Queen. Qin Sheng asked the security guard to take a taxi and go back first. Then he called Qingyu and said, I'm already at the gate. Come out quickly. Qingyu said angrily, Wait for me. Qin Sheng waited for nearly half an hour. He knew that Qingyu must have done this on purpose, so he did not care about it. He called Song Wei and asked him to come out and chat for a while if he was free. After a while, Song Wei came out and saw Qin Sheng. He asked confusedly, What's going on? You're already at the gate. Why don't you go up and sit for a while? Qin Sheng was speechless and said, Don't mention it. I met with bad luck today. Then he told Song Wei what had happened today. After hearing it, Song Wei could not help laughing directly, which made Qin Sheng more depressed. Song Wei laughed and joked, I was wondering why you changed your car, and it is a Ferrari convertible. This is obviously not your style. It turns out that you have good luck with women today. Qin Sheng sighed helplessly and said, It is not good luck with women. It is obviously a disaster with women. I really owe her. After they talked for a while, Qingyu came out of the Queen with 4 or 5 men. She easily found Qin Sheng, who was standing by the roadside. Then she asked angrily, Give me the car key. Where's my car? Qin Sheng was not worried because of the large number of people on the opposite side. Yinding was next to him. More than 10 security guards would come over casually. He was not afraid of them at all. Besides, no one would make trouble here in such a bustling and prosperous area. It would not take long for the patrol police to arrive. Song Wei was very perceptive. He immediately called the security department and asked several security guards to come over. Qingyu said disdainfully, Well, I thought you were not afraid of anything. It turns out that you also have a helper. Qin Sheng snorted and said, Didn't you also bring helpers here? I have to be careful when dealing with women like you. After all, not everyone could do such a thing like letting out gas. Qingyu said disapprovingly, Not everyone will bully women, you stinky rogue. You. Qin Sheng was so angry that he had nowhere to vent his anger. Qingyu snorted and said, Do you want to hit me again? Try to hit me today. As soon as Qingyu finished speaking, 4 or 5 strong men took 2 steps forward. Judging from their momentum, as long as Qingyu waved her hand, they could kill Qin Sheng. At this time, the security guards of Yinding also rushed over. Song Wei motioned for them to stay. He gave the key to one of the security guards and asked him to check whether Qin Sheng's car was normal. Just when they were tit for tat, another man in a suit and leather shoes came over, followed by 2 subordinates. At first glance, it was obvious that he was not an ordinary person. He was not at the same level as the 4 or 5 strong men beside Qingyu. After seeing the man in a suit and leather shoes coming over, Qingyu immediately changed her expression. She took the man's arm and said with a grievance, Brother, you are finally here. Is he who bullied me? Qin Sheng squinted at the man in front of him, who was about 35 or 36 years old and looked extraordinary. There was a murderous look in his eyes, which made him have to be careful. The man walked up to Qin Sheng and said directly, "It is you who bullied my sister." Chapter 272. The Dugu family, since she could drive a Ferrari, go to the golf club and the Queen's bar, and had a bad temper, she was naturally a fair, rich, and beautiful woman who was not short of money. Therefore, reincarnation was a skill. Qin Sheng did not want to have any conflict with her, so he did not take the blame and directly denied it. Qing Yu was so angry that she pointed at her nose and shouted, "You dare to do it, but don't dare to admit it. Are you a man? As long as you're not blind, you should be able to tell a man's gender, right?" Qin Sheng retorted directly. Qing Yu did not know how to refute his words. Seeing his sister's embarrassed look, the elegant man in front of her almost burst out laughing. Because the light was too dim, he did not recognize Qin Sheng. At this moment, he saw Qin Sheng's appearance and said calmly, "I didn't expect it to be you." Qin Sheng was surprised and said, "Do we know each other? You don't know me, but I know you. Your name is Qin Sheng. 2 days ago, when Basu fought in the boxing field, I took my friends to join in the fun. In the end, you were in the limelight and made Yuan Ke lose face," the man said slowly. After hearing this, Qin Sheng understood. It turned out that he had met the audience of that fight. "My name is Qingning, and this is my sister, Qing Yu. I think there must be some misunderstanding between you. My sister has a bad temper. If she offended you, please forgive her." Qingning suddenly changed his attitude and smiled gently. The originally hostile atmosphere disappeared in an instant, which surprised Qin Sheng a little. He thought that they might fight and had prepared for it. After all, Qing Yu was not a person to be trifled with. He did not expect her brother to be so humble. Of course, Qin Sheng could not put on airs anymore. He hoped that this misunderstanding would end quickly. If he could not afford to offend them, he could hide from them. Qin Sheng took a step back and said, "You are welcome. I also did something wrong." Qingning smiled gently and said, "If you don't mind, we can be friends. This is my business card. I will treat you to a drink some other day. I am familiar with Yang Deng, right?" "Oh." Qin Sheng was more surprised. He took the business card calmly and handed over his own business card. Qing Yu, who was beside him, was stunned. "What the hell? My brother. I asked you to support me. How did you become friends with him in the end? Are you kidding me?" "Brother, what do you mean?" Qing Yu said discontentedly. Qingning put his arm around Qing Yu's shoulder and said, "Come on. Don't pretend to be wronged. I know you well. When have you ever been bullied? It's always you who bullied others. I asked Xiaosong about it. You deflated all the tires of others' cars and asked Xiaosong to beat them. Unfortunately, Xiaosong was not as good as you." Qing Yu felt somewhat embarrassed by her own brother. She said coquettishly, "Brother." At this moment, the security guard ran back and handed the car key to Song Wei, saying that he had checked the car and there was nothing wrong with it. Song Wei nodded silently and handed the car key to Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng took the key and said calmly, "Since the misunderstanding has been resolved, we will leave first. See you again if there is a chance." Qingning's way. Song Qing Qing's Qin Qin Song Back Mountain, Song Song Qing, Qing, and I will. The two of them shook hands and resolved their differences. Qin Sheng was originally in a bad mood because of this woman. Fortunately, her brother's attitude was good. He did not want to continue to pester her, so he turned around and prepared to leave. "Why are you leaving?" Qingning stopped his sister and said, "That's enough. He is gone. Why are you still acting? I think you have nothing to do." "Ah, brother, who is this man? He is interesting. He made me suffer a lot today." Qing Yu burst into laughter after Qin Sheng was far away. She was not as calculative as before. "Ha, brother, who is this man? He is interesting. He made me suffer a lot today." Qing Yu could not help laughing when Qin Sheng was far away. She was not calculative at all. "Also, don't say that to me. Also, don't say such things to me in the future. If you have the ability, say it in front of Dad and Mom. See if they don't scold you to death. Girls need to be raised well. Do you know that you don't love me at all? Am I still your sister? Have you been looking for other women recently?" I will tell my sister-in-law, Qingyu said confidently. Qingning was completely defeated. He could only admit defeat. After Qin Sheng and Song Wei left, they went to Yunding International and arranged a box for them. Yin Jing, the manager of the public relations department, came in immediately and served the two bosses personally. Song Wei had already told Yin Jing that as long as Qin Sheng walked into Yunding International, she must serve the two bosses personally. Qin Sheng had always wondered why such a beautiful woman had such a name. It sounded a little evil. Boss Qin, do you know the identities of the two people just now? Song Wei asked with interest. He had been in Hangzhou for so many years and had seen all kinds of people. Qin Sheng was surprised and said, What? Brother Song, do you know them? I didn't know that. If it were not for today's episode, I guess we would not have met. That's not necessarily true. As long as Boss Qin is in Zhujiang, you'll have to deal with their family sooner or later, Song Wei said cheerfully. Chao had already retired behind the scenes and started to live a comfortable life. Qin Sheng, who had received all of Chao Da's resources, would not be satisfied with being ordinary. Naturally, he would work hard to make a career for himself. That was why Song Wei had abandoned Laozhou without hesitation and boarded Qin Sheng's big boat. Although he did not know what Qin Sheng thought of him, as long as he did not do anything out of line, he would definitely rise with the tide. Hearing Song Wei's words, Qin Sheng was even more surprised. He asked, Brother Song, tell me in detail. That elegant man is Dugu Qingning, the eldest son of the Dugu family. I have met him by chance on several occasions, but I did not have any contact with him. After all, I'm not his friend. After knowing Dugu Qingning, there is no need to guess the identity of the beautiful woman. She is the youngest daughter of the Dugu family, Dugu Qingyu. She also has an elder sister, Dugu Qinghe. It is said that she married a young master in Beijing. Her family is also one of the top families in Beijing. The two families are friends for generations. It can be regarded as a marriage between two strong families. Song Wei explained in detail. In Zhujiang, the Dugu family was definitely at the top of the list. Of course, it did not include those bright and beautiful local tycoons. Their level was not limited to Zhujiang. After hearing that, Qin Sheng was very shocked. It did not occur to him that the contact between him and the Dugu family would start today. It was really interesting that such a small probability could happen. At this point, Qin Sheng had already met Third Master Wu, the old monk, Boss Hu, and the Dugu family. A magnificent show of gratitude and hatred was about to begin. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, I see. I didn't expect to meet the children of the Dugu family today. However, their characters are quite different. Dugu Qingning is low-key and introverted, while Dugu Qingyu is spoiled and willful. I wonder what kind of character Dugu Qinghe is. Song Wei smiled and said, I happened to meet Dugu Qinghe before. It would be a little vulgar to describe her as beautiful. That woman has a great temperament. Back then, the men who chased after her could form two circles around Westlake. That's why she married into Beijing. This is also one of the reasons why no one dares to offend the Dugu family. After all, their family background is too powerful. At this time, Yin Jing, who had been pouring wine and listening to the story, interrupted, Manager Qin, Manager Song, Dugu Qingning is also very handsome. He was the vice president of the student union of Zhujiang University and was definitely one of the most handsome men in the school. There were many junior girls who chased after him or had a crush on him. I was one of them. At that time, people did not know his background. Qin Sheng said with a smile, I didn't expect Beauty Yin to be a graduate of Zhujiang University. You must have chased after Beauty Yin back then. Of course, Yin Jing said proudly. As for why a top student who graduated from Zhujiang University came to such a place to be the public relations manager, it was the twists and turns of her life. Qin Sheng was not interested in understanding it. After all, everyone's life was full of twists and turns. After chatting with Song Wei for a while, Gu Qingyang and Hao Lei came over. They drank and chatted casually. Song Wei was on Qin Sheng's side, so he got along well with Hao Lei and Gu Qingyang. As a smart man, of course, he knew how to conduct himself. Qin Sheng did not stay in Yunding International for too long. After all, He could not hold up everyone's work. Recently, Yending's business was very good. After all, it occupied such a good position. He left his car in Yending and took a taxi to find Changbaji. When he left, he stared at the oriental charm opposite him thoughtfully. This was Chao Da's worry in the beginning. He did not know when he could help him fulfill this little wish. It could be regarded as his repayment to Chao Da. The place to meet Changbaji was a roadside food stall. Eating barbecue and drinking beer was Qin Sheng's most comfortable life. Many people might laugh at him for being a loser. After all, he was a big shot. Changbaji had arrived. He knew what Qin Sheng liked to eat and had already ordered. After Qin Sheng sat down, he started to eat directly. The so-called exotic delicacies for dinner were not as solid as a bowl of splashed oil noodles for Qin Sheng. So he was already hungry. He said, "You had something on the phone. What is it?" Seeing that Qin Sheng was almost done eating, Changbaji raised his glass and clinked glasses with Qin Sheng. Changbaji, who seldom drank in the past, had no choice now. After all, in a place like Poly International, it was unrealistic not to drink. But he tried to be moderate. Qin Sheng put down his glass and looked up at Changbaji. He said very seriously, "The Lin family already knows that we are in Hangzhou. I guess Yin Chaozong already knows it." Upon hearing this news, Changbaji remained silent. Just as Qin Sheng had thought, this would happen sooner or later. After all, Qin Sheng had been in Hangzhou for such a long time. Moreover, he had been right under their noses. Moreover, he had already come this far. If they still did not know about it, they would be blind. Chapter 273. I waited. Second update. When it came to love, no one was wrong. Not Qin Sheng, not Lin Su, of course, including Yin Chaozong. It was just that some things done for the sake of love were wrong. In the end, it led to bitter consequences and resentment. This was something that no one had expected and no one was willing to see. Some people say that the most perfect marriage is when two families are well matched. This is not unreasonable, but the premise of marriage is love, and only the purest love can lead to the most perfect marriage. Once love and marriage are mixed with too many things, it will naturally make people feel disgusted and disgusted. Lin Su is like this. Therefore, she did not choose Yin Chaozong, who was of equal status to her. Instead, she chose Qin Sheng, who would rather help each other in times of need. However, no one was willing to bear the consequences of a single choice. Qin Sheng had almost lost his life. Both the Yin and Lin families had lost their faces. Therefore, it could be said that he was wrong at the beginning. What happened after was also wrong. Yin Chaozong recalled the past again. Until today, he still did not understand why he had lost to Qin Sheng. Why would Lin Su rather choose Qin Sheng over him? Could it be that Qin Sheng had something special about him? Or was it because of other reasons? But no matter what, it was impossible for him to forgive them. Brother, who are they? Yin Chaozong had been staring at Qin Sheng and Changbaji for more than 10 minutes. In the end, the beautiful campus belle could not help but ask. Yin Chaozong said inexplicably, "Two old friends. Then why don't you go down to see them?" The beautiful campus belle didn't know what was going on. Did she really think that these two were Yin Chaozong's friends? Yin Chaozong shook his head and said, "Now is not the time to meet him. When the time is right, we will naturally meet. Let's go, Fenghe." Fenghe started the Mercedes-Benz and glanced at Changbaji and Qin Sheng again with resentment in his eyes. His goal was to have enough strength to challenge Changbaji. He was not reconciled to his defeat at that time. Changbaji and Qin Sheng definitely did not expect that Yin Chaozong was staring at them not far away. This time, they were in the open while Yin Chaozong was in the dark. But even if they knew, what could they do? Qin Sheng couldn't directly kill them to take revenge. It's only a matter of time before he finds out. However, how are you going to face it? Changbaji said slowly. Qin Sheng sighed and said, "It's still too fast. Based on our current strength in Hangzhou, we still can't resist the attack of Yin Chaozong and the Lin family. If it had been half a year later, even if I lost, I wouldn't have lost so badly." Changbaji sighed softly and said, "Aren't you a bit too pessimistic? You may not necessarily lose. At least now you have more card to play in Hangzhou than when you were in Shanghai. Zhuangzhou, Chowda, Shueqingyan, Master Lu, Yongding, and Luo Chang'an. As long as you make good use of them, they may help you. These people all have a powerful force behind them. As long as they can restrain Yin Chaozong and the Lin family, it will be fine. Moreover, they have not been peaceful recently. It is possible that someone will fish in troubled waters. Yang Dang wants me to accompany him to Putuo to celebrate Third Master Wu's birthday this week. Do you think I should go? Qin Sheng asked for Chang Baji's opinion. Chang Baji said in a low voice, I know you are not willing to go, but you have to go this time. Even if it is just a show, you have to do it. As long as you can build a relationship with Third Master Wu, you will have more bargaining chips. What you need is time. Okay, I will go. Qin Sheng nodded without hesitation. There were some things he was not willing to do, but he had to do it now, because he was not alone, and there were many people standing behind him. After thinking about it, Chang Baji arranged, to avoid the situation last time, I will let Gu Qingyang and Gu Xiaobo be your drivers. They will go wherever you go. They will take turns to ensure that you will be safe. Of course, Qin Sheng had no objection to Chang Baji's arrangement. With Gu Qingyang and Gu Xiaobo, his safety was certainly guaranteed. After they finished drinking with Chang Baji, it was almost midnight. Gu Qingyang rushed to their place directly. After that, he sent Qin Sheng back to the Golden Coast. Before they left, Chang Baji reminded him something. Gu Qingyang nodded with a serious look on his face, as if he was assuring Chang Baji something. On the way back, Qin Sheng said with a smile, Qingyang, you have worked hard during this period. Gu Qingyang, who was dull, shook his head and said, Brother Qin, this is my responsibility. Qin Sheng knew Gu Qingyang's character and temper, so he did not talk with him. Instead, he kept staring out of the window. It was late at night, and many people were like him, facing such an environment, but had to make a choice. After returning to the Golden Coast, Qin Sheng locked himself in the study and smoked one cigarette after another. He had escaped death with great difficulty, so of course, he was not willing to put him in a dangerous situation again. After thinking for an hour, Qin Sheng made the first call. Of course, it was Zhuangzhou who had pulled him back from the gates of hell. After a few seconds, the call was picked up. Qin Sheng rarely called Zhuangzhou, and Zhuangzhou rarely called Qin Sheng. Maybe the relationship between men was so direct. Lin Su, on the other hand, often asked about Zhuangzhou. After all, he was Qin Sheng's savior. Uncle Zhuang, haven't you slept yet? Qin Sheng asked respectfully. Zhuangzhou, who was at the northeast border, said in a low voice, I haven't gone back yet. It's rare for you to call me. Did something happen? They know I'm in Hangzhou, Qin Sheng said straightforwardly, without saying too many polite words. Zhuangzhou was stunned for a moment and replied, I see. Wait for my call. After saying this, Zhuangzhou hung up the phone. Listening to the busy tone, Qin Sheng wondered what kind of reply Uncle Zhuang would give him. After Zhuangzhou hung up the phone, he immediately called Gong Sun. After hearing this, Gong Sun was not worried, but somewhat happy. Why? Because he was very disgusted with the Lin family and the Yin family. The higher they jumped, the more determined their master would be to deal with them. This time was different. As long as they made a move, there would be corresponding revenge. This was the price they had to pay. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. However, at this time, Qin Chang'an was already asleep, so Gong Sun planned to report the news to him tomorrow. Qin Sheng called Shueqingyan again. He was not sure whether Shueqingyan was asleep or not. He was somewhat regretful. Was it because he was too anxious and messed up? Fortunately, the phone was connected. Qin Sheng, why are you calling me so late? What's the matter? Shueqingyan spoke first, not giving Qin Sheng a chance to chat. Qin Sheng did not intend to tell her the news, but said, Sister, I promised you last time. What's the matter? Shueqingyan, who had just returned home and drank some red wine at night, was a little tipsy. She did not come to herself for a moment and asked in surprise. Qin Sheng sighed and said slowly, Master Lu. Qin Sheng, did something happen? If there's anything, just say it. There's no need to force yourself. I don't want to see you wronging yourself. Shueqingyan sensed something wrong with Qin Sheng and asked. Qin Sheng had been trying to convince himself, but after hearing Xue Qingyin's words, he was a little hesitant, so he fell into silence and did not know what to say. Why don't you say anything? Xue Qingyin frowned and said. Qin Sheng finally gave up. He had not reached that step yet, so he remedied it and said, because I want to ask a favor of Master Lu. What's the matter? Say it, Xue Qingyin said with concern. Qin Sheng gritted his teeth and said, an elder is going to celebrate his birthday this week. I want to ask Master Lu for a painting, but I don't know how to ask him. If I can ask Master Lu to be my master, it will be easier. It's just a small matter. Do you have to do this? I really don't know what to say. You don't have to worry about it. I'll call Master Lu tomorrow. Then you can directly talk to him. Xue Qingyin directly promised this matter and did not give Qin Sheng a chance to speak. But she felt that something was wrong. Maybe because she was drunk, her brain did not respond for a while, because Qin Sheng's reason was too weak. Qin Sheng said quickly, Sister, thank you so much. Okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I have to sleep. I'm too sleepy. Xue Qingyin muttered and hung up the phone. Qin Sheng was going to celebrate Third Master Wu's birthday. Of course, he must have a rare gift. He had already thought of countermeasures, and Master Lu's painting was just one of them. After making sure one thing after another, Qin Sheng dialed Yang Deng's number. This should be the last call tonight. Yang Deng was a night owl and often went to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Soon, he answered the phone and joked, Are you looking for me for a drink? I'm at G+, and Ma Chao is also there. Do you want to come over? Qin Sheng heard that it was very noisy over there, so he said tactfully, I won't go over, but I have something to tell you. I promised to go to Mount Putuo with you this week. Ha ha ha. I knew you would definitely agree, Yang Deng said in a good mood. Qin Sheng did not say anything more and replied, Okay, you go ahead. I'll call you later. After making these calls, Qin Sheng let out a long sigh. Come on, Lin family. Come on, Yin Chaozong. Chapter 274. Attitude. A year's plan is in spring, and a day's plan is in the morning. This is an old saying, but for young people, getting up late will ruin the morning, and getting up early will ruin the day. Therefore, most people end up mediocre, and only a few people can rise to the top, which depends on their attitude towards time. Many young people eat and wait for death every day, but they don't know that for many outstanding people, time is too precious for them. Qin Sheng once read a paragraph of information in which he interviewed a meritorious researcher in the Navy. He only slept 3 or 4 hours a day, and the rest of the time, except for eating and going to the toilet, was spent on research. He almost used one day as 3 days. Therefore, it only took his team 3 years to develop something that other countries took 10 years to develop. He said that what he lacked most was time, and he really wanted to borrow another 500 years from God. Therefore, Qin Sheng had a special concept of time. Unless there was something, he almost went to bed early and got up early. In the morning, he would run, drink tea, and read books. There would often be a few books in the car. As long as he had time, he was willing to study. Only by constantly enriching himself could he face any difficulties. His body and brain must be kept in the best state. The only thing that was delayed recently was that he did not have time to go to the gym, which was not a good thing. His favorite was the Three Kingdoms. It was an era where heroes and strategists came forth in large numbers. His favorite strategist was Guo Jia. Unfortunately, he died at an early age, which made the evaluation of him in the history books to be slightly lower. Therefore, he had nothing to do today, so he was reading Guo Jia's biography of the Three Kingdoms. He was thinking about why Guo Jia's strategy could win every time and how he thought about problems. But before he read a few words, Xue Qingyin called. It was only 8 o'clock, and Qin Sheng planned to go to the company at 9 o'clock. Sister, didn't you drink too much last night? Why did you get up so early today? Qin Sheng asked half-jokingly. Xue Qingyin shook her head and said, I have a life of tiredness. I have a meeting in the morning, so I have to go early. I have already called Mr. Lu about what you said last night, and he asked you to make time to go there today. If you have any request, you can tell him face to face. I won't be involved. Sister, you must be my sister in your previous life, so you take care of me so much in this life. Qin Sheng flattered. Shui Qingyan said angrily, don't try to bewitch me. Tell me honestly what happened to you. Why do I feel that is not so simple? For such an easy thing, you don't have to worship Master Lu as your teacher, do you? Sister, it's really nothing. I'm just embarrassed to ask. After all, I'm not that close to Master Lu yet. Not everyone can ask for Master Lu's paintings, Qin Sheng quickly said. Shui Qingyan did not think much about it. She snorted and said, all right, it's good that you're fine. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I have to go to the company now. After hanging up the phone, Qin Sheng put away the records of the Three Kingdoms and pondered over the comment he had made on Guojia. He is a genius in strategy and strategy. When would he have such a confidant? In terms of martial arts, Chang Baji was enough to deal with many things. However, in terms of strategy, he really had not met a good talent. Qin Sheng called Gu Xiaobo and asked him to drive the car to the entrance. He was responsible for protecting Qin Sheng today. Gu Xiaobo said very angrily, Brother Qin, senior uncle asked us to protect you. What happened exactly? Did Yuan Ku and Qian Buping make trouble again? Should I go and deal with them? Qin Sheng shook his head and said, it's not that simple. You'll know in the future. The opponent this time is very strong. Since Qin Sheng was not willing to say more, Gu Xiaobo, of course, did not ask further. After going out, Qin Sheng had already informed the person in charge of the villa in Maijiawu. He was Master Lu's housekeeper, Sun Yu. He was also Master Lu's agent and was responsible for some of Master Lu's properties outside. At first, Qin Sheng did not know about it. It was Shui Qingyan who told him last time. Soon, they arrived at the villa in Maijiawu. Sun Yu waited for Qin Sheng at the entrance personally. This was Master Lu's order. Since Qin Sheng was already a distinguished guest of his villa in Maijiawu, naturally, Sun Yu would be responsible for him. Sun Yu, who was dressed in a gray robe, was very elegant. He said with a smile, Little Qin, Master Lu is already waiting for you in the backyard. Master Lu valued Qin Sheng very much. This was not only because of the relationship between Qin Sheng's grandfather and Shui Qingyan, but also because Qin Sheng's calligraphy was good enough to reach a high level. Therefore, they appreciated each other. Qin Sheng chuckled and said, Brother Sun, I'm so troublesome every time. When Sun Yu led Qin Sheng to the backyard, there were a few plates of fruits and snacks on the table in the backyard. The doorman had already started to make tea. Master Lu was doing Tai Chi in the yard. Tai Chi for health Tai Chi could help to prolong one's life. However, most people regarded it as the real Tai Chi. The movements were almost the same, but the force exertion was not the same. Qin Sheng, Sun Yu, and the others stood at the side and admired it. They did not disturb Master Lu's practice. It was not until Master Lu finished this set of movements that he stopped and looked at Qin Sheng with relief. He said, Little Qin, what do you think of my Tai Chi? I heard from Qin Yin that you are a real martial artist. Give me some advice. Qin Sheng did not dare to give advice to Master Lu. This kind of Tai Chi for health Tai Chi was basically the same. It was not a killing move to kill people. Therefore, Qin Sheng chuckled and said, Master Lu, I'm not good at Tai Chi. If you want to talk about 8 extremes boxing or 8 trigrams palm, I can say a thing or two. Master Lu laughed and said, Little Qin, you are still so polite. What you say is watertight. Qin Sheng smiled awkwardly. If Master Lu had asked him to compete with someone, he would definitely not have flinched. Qin Yin has already told me. In the future, if there is such a small thing, just call me directly. Don't bother Qin Yin anymore. You're just too courteous. I often give paintings to others. It is the same no matter who I give it to, right? But you have to give me a piece of calligraphy. In this way, we can exchange favors. What do you think? Master Lu said as he walked down the pavilion. Obviously, Master Lu was passing a message to Qin Sheng. He did not want him to treat it as a favor. Qin Sheng's calligraphy was good, but how could its value be compared with Master Lu's painting? What kind of calligraphy do you want, Master Lu? Qin Sheng asked casually. Master Lu smiled faintly and said, I haven't thought about it yet. I will tell you when I have thought about it. But it must be a big project. I don't want to give it to you. Now tell me your request. Who do you want to give it to, and what do you want me to paint? This weekend is Third Master Wu's birthday. Qin Sheng did not hide anything and said directly. Master Lu was surprised and said, "Oh, I didn't expect you to know Third Master Wu. This old guy has been living in seclusion on Mount Putuo these years. You won't ask me to paint a Buddhist statue, will you? This is not what I am good at." Qin Sheng shook his head and said, "Ah, of course not. I know Master Lu is good at landscape painting, so I want to..." Then Qin Sheng told him his idea. The more Master Lu listened, the more he frowned. In the end, when Qin Sheng finished, he shook his head and said, "I can paint this painting, but I can't guarantee that I can finish it by the weekend. If I can't, you can use the painting of high mountains and flowing water that I painted some time ago. What do you think?" Since Master Lu had said so, Qin Sheng could not say anything more. He just followed Master Lu's instructions. When Qin Sheng was asking for a painting from Master Lu, in the Sihiwan of the Qin family in Sijio City, Qin Chang'an, who had finished his breakfast, was on his way to the headquarters of the World Trade Company. If one only asked the name of the company, not many people would know it. However, if one was a tycoon who really played with capital, he would definitely know this company, because the complicated equity structure behind him was enough to make people speechless. He controlled dozens of listed and non-listed companies, as well as various trusts and funds. While Qin Chang'an was looking at the information, Gong Sun, who was in the passenger seat, said slowly, "Master, Zhuangzhou called me last night. I have something to tell you." "What's the matter?" Qin Chang'an asked without raising his head. Gong Sun said slowly, "Zhuangzhou told me that young master called him and said that the Lin family and the Yin family already know that he is in Hangzhou." After Zhuangzhou finished speaking, Qin Chang'an was silent for a moment and asked, "Oh, anything else?" Gong Sun shook his head and said, "No, it's just this matter. I think he wants Zhuangzhou's help. After all, young master does not have the ability to face these two families. What do you think we should do?" "So what if they know? He has been in Hangzhou for several months. Doesn't he have the ability to fight back? If he can't even deal with this kind of hardship, even if he returns to Beijing in the future, he will be played to death." Qin Chang'an was very dissatisfied with Qin Sheng's call to Zhuangzhou. Gong Sun was very surprised. This was not Qin Chang'an's attitude towards young master recently. Shouldn't he be suppressing the Yin family and the Lin family? "Master, I'm afraid that what happened last time will happen again," Gong Sun said worriedly. Qin Chang'an put down the things in his hands and snorted, "A fall into the pit, a gain in your wit. If he can make the same mistake twice, then he can make the same mistake 3 or 4 times in the future. I can't save him every time. I want to see a son who can face all kinds of difficulties independently, not a good-for-nothing who needs others' help every time." Gong Sun finally understood that Qin Chang'an's feelings for Qin Sheng were feelings, but in this matter, he was as cruel as ever. Let him suffer. The more he can suffer, the better. At most, I will clean up his mess in the end. If he doesn't even have the courage to suffer, then I will be disappointed, Qin Chang'an said straightforwardly. Gong Sun nodded and said no more. Actually, Qin Chang'an still told him the answer, which was that he hoped to see Qin Sheng overcome the setbacks of the Lin family and the Yin family alone. Just like what he told Qin Ran at the beginning, a man must take revenge by himself. What he wanted was Qin Sheng's attitude. He was not afraid that Qin Sheng would make things worse. Moreover, there was still Qin Ran. Qin Ran cared more about her biological brother than Qin Chang'an. If she knew that there was something going on over there, she would probably help him without hesitation. Therefore, Gong Sun did not think too much about it. In the next few days, nothing major happened. It was so quiet that it was a little scary. Yin Xiaozong was preparing to take Qin Sheng down a notch, and the Lin family was also preparing to take action. Qin Sheng took some time to meet Boss Hu. He agreed to 2 of Boss Hu's requests because Chong Baji had finally relented. However, the specific conditions of cooperation had been relented. That was, Qin Sheng could not guarantee that he could send a contestant to participate every time, but he would try his best. Of course, Boss Hu had also adjusted the remuneration to Qin Sheng. He was not the god of wealth. The cooperation between him and Qin Sheng was only based on interest. Chapter 275. Why? Boss Hu's training base was located at the foot of Mount Tianmu, covering an area of nearly 1,000 acres. It was built with hundreds of millions of yuan. Usually, it was the expansion training base of many big companies in Hangzhou. However, it was separated from the private training base. Qin Sheng came to the training base with Chang Baji today. He also wanted to see Boss Hu's strength. After he arrived, he was really shocked. It was said that Boss Hu was rich and overbearing. It was said that Boss Hu had a good relationship with the military. Every year, countless retired scouts and special forces would work here. Many Boss's bodyguards and drivers were also selected from here. No wonder Third Master Wu and the old monk did not dare to offend the Hu family. Boss Hu's latest competition would be on New Year's Day. The news would be announced in a few days. At that time, all the investors could spend a lot of money to find the players. After all, the bonus of every competition and the extra profit of gambling were not small. After Qin Sheng and Chang Baji had a discussion, they decided to let Gu Qingyang and Gu Xiaobo take part in the competition at that time, since Chang Baji had a lot of things to deal with recently and had no time to go out and look for contestants. Based on their abilities, as long as it was not the final heavyweight competition, they should be able to win. Even if they lost, they would not look bad. Boss Hu's training base was under the full military management, so the security was very strict. The sentry at the gate directly called Boss Hu's office. Then they let Qin Sheng and Chang Baji go. After that, they went straight to the office building under the guidance of a sightseeing car. In the big office, Qin Sheng and Chang Baji met Boss Hu, who was wearing a camouflage uniform and looked very imposing. He was totally different from the boss, whom Qin Sheng had met the other day. Boss Hu stood up and greeted Qin Sheng happily. "Hey, little Qin, you are here." He had already given Qin Sheng face. After all, those who could sit with him were not ordinary people. Qin Sheng said with a smile, "Boss Hu, we meet again. I didn't expect you to wear a camouflage uniform. You look like a soldier." Boss Hu smiled faintly as he said, "Haha, I guess you don't know this. I was a soldier for 10 years. Later, because I made some mistakes and my family asked me to come back and take over, I was discharged from the army." This was a fact known to many people in Hangzhou. It was also the reason why he had founded this security company. At first, his original intention was to find a place for his former comrades to settle down. Unexpectedly, it had become one of the most powerful security companies in the whole of Jiangsu and Zhejiang. This news surprised Qin Sheng very much. At the same time, he felt deep respect for Boss Hu. He had a natural sense of admiration for soldiers. So far, his biggest regret was that he had never been a soldier in his life. It did not occur to him that Boss Hu had been a soldier before. As a result, everything seemed to be reasonable. Qin Sheng said respectfully, "I didn't expect you to be a veteran, Boss Hu. No wonder you have such a good figure. It's just a habit that I've been maintaining for many years. I don't want to become a middle-aged man with a big belly and then be drained by wine and women. If I do that, I'll become old and sick. So what if I have billions in wealth?" Boss Hu said cheerfully. Qin Sheng nodded as he said, "You're right, Boss Hu." At this moment, Boss Hu looked at Chang Baji and sized up this ordinary-looking man from head to toe. He said appreciatively, "I finally got to see your real face." The fight between the dragon and the tiger that night was the most exciting competition I've seen in the past 2 years. "How should I address you, master?" Chang Baji had cultivated himself for so many years. He had never fawned on anyone. Even Qin Sheng did not know what he was pursuing. He said calmly, "I don't deserve to be called a master. I'm just a martial artist. You can call me Lao Chong." "Lao Chong, you are too modest. The last move of you and Monk Yin Qing, where Mars collided with Earth, has already become a hot topic among the clients recently. Many people have been asking me about you, and many big bosses have even offered you a high price. But I have politely declined all of them," Boss Hu said in a half-joking manner. who held great respect for people like Changbaji. He thought Boss who was just flattering him. After all, he had been through a lot. If you two are free, I can show you around my small place. The contract is being drafted. There are no long-winded terms. It won't be late for us to sign it later, Boss Hu said politely. Qin Sheng chuckled and said, "Thank you, Boss Hu." In the following half an hour, led by Boss Hu, Qin Sheng and Chang Baji visited Boss Hu's training base by electric scooter. Even though it was noon, there was still a lot of training going on, which was almost the same as military training. After all, most of the drill instructors here were from the army. At the end of the half-hour tour, Qin Sheng was still in shock when Boss Hu led them to the indoor training ground. At this moment, all the drill masters had gathered there and were waiting for them. There were nearly 20 drill masters who were divided into different groups. Each group had a person in charge, as well as a chief drill master and a deputy chief drill master. The administrative logistics and training were separated. The chief instructor was a soldier in his 40s. He ran forward according to the rules of the army and said, "Reporting, all the instructors have gathered. Please give me your instructions." Boss Hu nodded silently and said in a dignified manner, "At ease, at ease, at ease." Boss Hu walked forward slowly as he said, "Today, I have gathered all of you here for nothing important. I just want to announce one thing. We have a new member, Chang Baji. From today on, Chang Baji will serve as the special instructor of the training base. He will be responsible for training you and the outstanding members." Hearing Chang Baji's words, the group of instructors immediately became excited. They didn't expect that Boss Hu would find someone to train them. They were all elites who were the king of soldiers when they were in the army. How could they be so lucky, especially those young instructors who were proud and arrogant, naturally refused to accept it? Qin Sheng was just a bystander watching Chang Baji's performance. Anyway, he remembered that when Chang Baji first joined Shangshan Ruashui, he gave those security guard a show of strength and directly made them submit to him in the simplest way. What about today? Chang Baji walked forward slowly and lowered his head slightly. "Nice to meet you. My name is Chang Baji. You can call me Lao Chang from now on. I don't have any special skills. I just know some basic martial arts. I'm honored to be appreciated by Boss Hu. I've heard that most of you are elites from the army. Of course, I'm not qualified to criticize you. But since Boss Hu asked me to do this, I have to bite the bullet. I know that you're not convinced and want to ask me why I can do this. Of course, I have to tell you why I can do this." Chang Baji was not good at currying favor with these instructors. Naturally, he would not deliberately mingle with these instructors. He knew what he was here for. Moreover, these instructors had bad tempers. Therefore, it was better to be direct, which was also his style. Boss Hu was very satisfied. He really wanted to see how Chang Baji would tame these wolves and tigers. Qin Sheng smiled playfully. This was still Chang Baji's usual style. "I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Aren't you good at fighting? Then I will beat you until you are convinced." "Why?" Chang Baji's words completely irritated these elites. Their eyes were full of anger. If it weren't for the strict rules of the training base, they would have already beaten Chang Baji. Everyone was waiting for Chang Baji's next words. They saw that Chang Baji directly took off his short-sleeved shirt, revealing his lean muscles. It was really amazing that a man in his 40s could have such a figure. Meanwhile, Lao Chang's body was covered with scars, which were even more ghastly than Qin Sheng's. Everyone was shocked. Chang Baji snorted. "You're nothing in front of me. Aren't you elites? Who is the best at fighting? Step forward. I want to see how powerful you are." After Chang Baji finished his words, the atmosphere froze for about a few seconds. Then, 5 or 6 instructors directly stepped forward with a bang. Of course, Chang Baji knew that these people had a temper. However, he still provoked them. "It seems that you're all good at fighting. I like this kind of opponent. But I mean the best." Boss Hu looked at the chief instructor. The chief instructor directly shouted, "Shen Kongwu, step forward." Shen Kongwu was not among the group of people who had come forward. Although he was not the best instructor among the instructors, he was definitely the one who was the best at fighting. He was also Boss Hu's favorite instructor. Shen Kongwu stepped forward with a bang. Then, He trotted forward and faced Chong Baji directly. Shin Kangwu, good name. A man should learn martial arts. Come on, Chong Baji said in an imposing manner. Shin Kangwu looked Chong Baji up and down. He was not a reckless man without a brain. Therefore, he did not rush forward without saying anything. As a special instructor invited by Boss Who to train them, if he did not have some skills, he would not dare to show off here. After all, this was a tiger's den. Taking a step back, even if he did not believe Chong Baji, he had to believe Boss Who. Chong Baji and Shun Kangwu both did not move. Maybe this was the so-called fight between masters. However, could Shin Kangwu be considered a master in front of Chong Baji? After an unknown amount of time, the hot and stuffy air caused everyone to be drenched in sweat. There was not even a trace of cool breeze. When a drop of sweat flowed down Chong Baji's forehead toward his eyes, Shun Kangwu finally made his move. He silently charged toward Chong Baji. Chong Baji did not take it seriously at all. He slowly wiped away the drop of sweat. In the blink of an eye, Shun Kangwu had already rushed in front of Chong Baji and kicked at Chong Baji's shoulder. Chong Baji did not move at all. He just stood there. When Shun Kangwu stood still and his kick was about to reach Chong Baji's shoulder, Chong Baji chose to take action. It was also a simple kick. However, compared with Shun Tsungwu's speed and strength, Chong Baji's kick was more ferocious. Bang! Shun Tsungwu's kick landed on Chong Baji's shoulder. Chong Baji, who had already attacked with one foot, did not move at all. At this time, his kick hit Shun Tsungwu's chest. Bang! Like a kite with a broken string, Shun Kangwu flew backward and fell heavily on the ground. He directly spat out blood. This scene directly shocked everyone present. Chapter 276. Kindred Spirits? How many years had Chong Baji been learning martial arts? He had been accepted as the last disciple by the great ancestor since he was a child. After so many years of teaching and being influenced by what he saw and heard, these king soldiers in the army could not be compared with him at all. Moreover, he was very talented, so the great ancestor valued him very much and almost taught all his skills to Chong Baji. Maybe it was because Chong Baji had a bad fate that the great ancestor was worried about him. So he asked Chong Baji to learn more skills so that he could have a foothold in this society where the strong preyed on the weak. Moreover, Chong Baji had experienced a lot over the years. He had escaped from the gates of hell many times and fought with many masters, most of whom were not easy to deal with. His actual combat experience was not something that these king soldiers could compare with. However, how many king soldiers in the era of peace had experienced real combat? The gap between them was not small. That was why Chong Baji met them in such a direct way today. There were not so many showy but impractical moves. Chong Baji directly spoke with his strength. When one was powerful enough, one would not care about partial gains and losses. Bosu had thought that the drill masters in his training base were quite powerful, especially Shun Kangwu, who had won the first place in many competitions in the base. So he had been waiting to see a fierce fight between a dragon and a tiger. He thought that Shin Kangwu would not disappoint him. However, he did not expect that Chong Baji would meet him in such a domineering way. What was more, he did not expect that his most powerful drill master would be directly disabled by one move. This really made him feel ashamed. He felt that his money had been spent in vain. Fortunately, he knew Qin Sheng, who made him see these things clearly. Qin Sheng was also surprised. He had thought that Chong Baji would meet him in a similar way as last time in Shangshan Ruoshui. He did not expect that Chong Baji would meet him in a more domineering and direct way. All the drill masters stared at Chong Baji as if they were looking at a monster, especially those arrogant drill masters. They always thought that they were very powerful in daily life. It was not until today that they knew what a real master looked like. Is this the so-called most powerful person in your training base? Chong Baji said in a powerful voice. His eyes were full of mockery and sarcasm. It seemed that he did not take the group of people in front of him seriously at all. Chong Baji continued to say, "To be honest, I am very disappointed. What can the trash train by you do? He was just going to destroy Boss Who's golden reputation. In my eyes, The things you've learned are just fancy moves without substance. I know that many of you look down on Chinese martial arts and think that those are all fake moves to deceive people. Rest assured, in the coming days, I'll let you know what traditional martial arts are. After Chang Baji finished speaking, he went back to Qin Sheng's side. Boss, who felt embarrassed and did not want to stay there any longer. Consequently, he told the chief instructor, "Send Song Wu to the infirmary. As for the rest of you, you can leave now. I hope you can learn something from what happened today. You have been living too comfortably." After Boss, who finished speaking, he left with Qin Sheng, Chang Baji, and the others. After they went back to the office, Boss, who said in a deep voice, "Lao Chang, I hope that you will pay more attention to me in the future. Since I've agreed to your request, this is what I should do," Chang Baji said indifferently. Boss, who nodded silently. After that, he walked toward Qin Sheng, patted Qin Sheng on his shoulder, and said, "Xiao Qin, thank you so much for what you have done this time. If you need any help in the future, as long as it is within my ability, I will definitely not decline." "You're welcome, Mr. Hu," Qin Sheng said with a smile. Of course, Qin Sheng knew that these favors would not have any effect in a short period of time. But as time went by, the effect would gradually show. As for Boss Hu, Qin Sheng let Chang Baji handle everything. He believed that Chang Baji's charisma was enough to conquer Boss Hu's training base. Qin Sheng knew that the danger had arrived. He put on his armor and faced the enemy without stopping. He did not know when the enemy would launch an attack, but he would definitely not sit and wait for death. Life had tortured me hundreds and thousands of times, but I still treated life like my first love. After all, there were still many beautiful things in this world. I couldn't forget these beautiful things just because of a little setback in front of me. It was getting closer and closer to Third Master Wu's birthday. Qin Sheng did not know how Master Lu's painting of the old steed in the stable was going. Of course, he hoped to use this painting. However, painting was not an easy thing. Master Lu might not be able to finish it within 5 days. After all, Master Lu was already old. Qin Sheng knew that Third Master Wu believed in Buddhism, so he wanted to write a simple sentence in Buddhist language. He knew that Third Master Wu believed in Buddhism, so he wanted to write it in a way that they could complement each other. He needed to feel it. While Qin Sheng was preparing, Yin Chaozong was not idle either. The first confrontation could be regarded as a lose-lose situation. Yin Chaozong lost Lin Su, and Qin Sheng almost lost his life. So neither of them wanted to lose the second confrontation. Yin Chaozong had stayed in Hangzhou for a few days. He had not been idle these days. He had prepared the first appetizer for Qin Sheng, but was not the end. It was just the beginning. Qin Sheng's biggest opponent in Hangzhou was Yuan Ku. So Yin Chaozong wanted to meet Yuan Ku. He did not expect that under the matchmaking of Lao Zheng, the person who came to meet him was actually the old monk's grandson, who was more important than Yuan Ku. The place where they met was still a Manfian. Yin Chaozong sent the beautiful campus belle away and asked her to go shopping with her friends. As long as it could be solved with money, Yin Chaozong would certainly not care about it. A pot of good tea, a stick of sandalwood, and a song of Sanskrit. Yin Chaozong's mind was as calm as still water. Only Feng He, who was standing by his side in the living room, reported to him that Qin Sheng had gone to Boss Hu's security base yesterday. It did not occur to Yin Chaozong that Qin Sheng was so capable that he not only had a relationship with Third Master Wu, but also had a relationship with Boss Hu. However, none of this mattered to him because this group of people value profits and not righteousness. Lao Zheng led the old monk's grandson into the courtyard slowly, followed by Yuan Ku. How could Yuan cannot come to such an event? La Yin, haha, come out quickly. I've invited young Master Chu here. The slightly plump Lao Zheng shouted as soon as he walked into the yard. Yin Chaozong stood up happily. He walked out with a smile on his face and said, "I've heard a lot of friends talk about young Master Chu from Hangzhou. I'm so lucky to meet you today." The old monk's surname was Chu, so young Master Chu was the old monk's grandson. Lao Zheng had informed Yin Chaozong in advance. At that time, Yin Chaozong thought that he had only invited Yuan Ku. It did not occur to him that he had disturbed this big shot. Qin Sheng really did not know how to treat people well. However, even in the face of young Master Chu, Yin Chaozong was still full of confidence. Compared with the background of the Yin family, young Master Chu was really nothing. Young Master Chu stared at Yin Chaozong with an evil smile and said, "Oh, I didn't expect that brother Yin has heard of my name. Are you kidding me? I rarely go to Shanghai." Yin Chaozong said casually, "Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Shanghai, Zhejiang, Shanghai. Even the slightest sign of trouble will be known. You are quite famous in Hangzhou." After all, the two of them did not have much interaction. It was natural for them to compliment each other when they met for the first time. These were all simple tricks. Young Master Chu laughed out loud and said, "My fame in Hangzhou is not comparable to that in Shanghai, Brother Yin. You're well known. Don't many people call you the first young master of Shanghai?" Yin Chaozong did not know whether it was flattery or sarcasm. He chuckled and said, "If I were the first young master of Shanghai, I would not come to you today for such a trivial matter. Brother Yin is really straightforward. I like friends like you." "Interesting, interesting," young Master Chu said meaningfully. Of course, he understood the implication of Yin Chaozong's words. It seemed that Yin Chaozong looked down on him. Lao Zheng laughed and said, "Both of you are not simple people. Don't flatter each other. Let's go inside and talk. It's raining outside." Yin Chaozong did not rush to turn around and enter. Even though young Master Chu was in front of him, he would not ignore Yuan Ku. After all, these people had real power. Young Master Chu might not have any power, but it was only because of his identity. Yin Chaozong looked at Yuan Ku behind him and took the initiative to reach out to greet him. "You must be Brother Yuan." Yuan Ku was slightly touched and quickly responded, "Young Master Yin, you are too polite." Of course, Yin Chaozong would not make young Master Chu feel uncomfortable. He just shook hands with him and said with a smile, "Two distinguished guests, please come in." After they entered the living room, Feng he could only act as a temporary waiter. After all, some words could not be heard by outsiders. Young Master Chu asked curiously, "I heard from Lao Zheng that Brother Yin asked us to meet for a common enemy. I don't know what happened between Brother Yin and him that made you come to Hangzhou to eliminate him." Yin Chaozong sighed and said, "It's really hard for me to say. I can only say that the hatred between me and him is a matter of life and death. I will definitely make him pay." Hearing Yin Chaozong's words, young Master Chu and Yuan Ku were surprised at first. Then they became happy. It did not occur to them that Qin Sheng had offended such a powerful opponent. He was really good at courting death. Yuan Ku said curiously, "I heard that he used to stay in Shanghai. Why didn't you get rid of him when you were in Shanghai? Why did you give him a chance to stir up trouble in Hangzhou?" "Why didn't I? I was careless at that time and let him escape. After that, he hid his identity for more than half a year. I just got the news some time ago, so I came to Hangzhou. I don't know what happened between you and him," Yin Chaozong said curiously. Young Master Chu said straightforwardly, "I just don't like him. He even dared to humiliate the Chu family. How could I tolerate him?" Yuan could not talk nonsense. He smiled faintly and said, "He and I have more grievances. It's a long story, so I don't have to say it." Yin Chaozong could tell that the two of them held a deep grudge against Qin Sheng. Consequently, he said, "In that case, we can be considered to be like-minded. If we join hands, I think even if he has 9 lives, he won't be able to survive." Young Master Chu liked this kind of words. He said excitedly, "Ha ha, then let's discuss how to torture this prey. I really want to see him cry and beg for mercy in front of me." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.